Who won?
No.
This
Hawk.
is Harbor Town.
My NPC Hawk. Remember what he did?
No, I don't.
He stole the coin that went ethereal. No one could find
Harbor
it.
Town is an all-new series from miniature building.
You don't remember
authority,
that, see?
The leader in
Nah.
tabletop gaming.
No, that was also the same one where Leuven got
Flexible and
attacked by a vampire
Harbor Town
that
will
surprised
take your
him.
game.
Remember?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so he forgot about the coin.
Yeah, that was awesome. Scared the shit out of him.
And
Hello,
also
everyone.
Hello.
He also added something to his character sheet after that. And the loves and hates spot.
Yes.
You write down what he loves and what he hates.
Because you thought that something was going on, that like someone was abusing someone the whole time. You didn't think it was a
Yes.
vampire situation.
Yeah, we can save it for the main time we're talking.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We've told that story before, but
That's all right.
tell you what, it's a classic. Yeah, I'll help out. Poor girl.
We also have a halfling who's crazy enough that he sleeps underwater with a hell of underwater action on because he's so paranoid.
With web feet.
Yeah, with web feet.
That would be one of Alan's, right?
Of course. Who else's would it be?
There it is. It's
Actually, I think Leuven might have a helm of underwater action too.
I thought it was Sam that had the helmet on over action.
Well, he doesn't sleep that way. He
You guys are all
he calls it
crazy.
his swimming stuff.
29.
Okay. Good. Just want to have a reference for where it is. What am I hitting next? I'm hitting this next.
So when do we actually really start?
Like every time, 7:30. You got 8 minutes.
I gotta go refill my beverage.
Go for it. Just don't get drunk tonight. Just kidding.
I can't guarantee.
I have a firm belief that it takes a little bit longer for Tim to get drunk than 2 hours.
Yeah. The prosecutor.
Or is it an hour and a half? How long's the show?
About 2. The prosecutor will be prosecuted. So he'll get his due diligence around prosecution. Going to.
I forgot.
Hey Anna. Hey Anna's a spectator tonight.
Hi, Anna.
Yeah. We're gonna have fun tonight. We're gonna just talk. We're gonna talk about give Anna a break.
Rest up her vocal cords.
Yeah, we got Legends of Lore. Hey, what's up, Frank? We got Legends and Lore. We got good Legends and Lore coming up this Wednesday. Villains.
Yeah.
That'll be good. It'll be the
I got
last.
to finish watching the last one, the one with Joe. That was good.
Oh, cool.
I need to send him a personal message and just say, okay, we'll put the rest out now.
Hello, Gabbin Slember. Hey, good to see you. Look at this. We got a whole crew on. All right, so Phantom, please tell me you got your package. Please tell me you got that package from the fundraiser. All right. Awesome. Good to hear. That is a good thing to hear. I like to hear good things. I got one more package to send out because I got an address last night. Frank from Nightheart knows who that was, and that'll be the last one. They should all be out. And so thank you.
You like to hear good things like lawful good.
What's that?
Cat a good.
Eos is dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
That's a great thing right there. That means we can start having enemies that make sense and actually are worthwhile.
Okay.
So you like that Band of Kingdoms book, Phantom? That's great because I've given them all out now for everyone, and that's awesome to hear.
We know
Awesome to
people
hear.
can't organize well enough to be able to do all that.
Well, yeah, not chaotic evil anyway.
Yeah, chaotic people can't do that.
Yeah. That's more of a. See, I've always preferred the Horn Society myself.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus, they could always get the moderates saying, "Look, we're not trying to destroy everything. We're just trying to
trying
get
to
everything
organize it."
under control. We just got to get this stuff under control.
Yeah, like a
We can better
politician.
serve. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Much more,
We got a lot.
much more
Let's
insidious.
see everyone on tonight, guys, on Sunday night. Thank you so very much.
I got to say, I kind of like the I like both sides of the coin when it comes to the Horn Society, because I like the idea of what they did with it after the Greyhawk were saying it's gone into a secret society, because then I like that too. Lawful evil secret society where, yeah, we don't have a country, but we're gonna sort of like how supposedly like they want the Scarlet Brotherhood to be, where they go and they infiltrate and all that different stuff. But yeah, I would prefer to have the Horn Society do that.
Kind of like Hydra.
Yes, exactly.
100%. Like Hydra.
Hail the Horn.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a fun discussion tonight, everyone. I can tell.
Hydra.
And it would beg to differ with you both about the Horn Society. I know that. So
she's not here now, is she?
No, she's
in there.
I take that back. I'm just kidding.
She knows the number. You better behave.
Oh no!
Just
gonna watch
word
this.
point of view, the Horn Society is so much better than us.
She's listening.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you again on this because we just raised so much money. And this vid never gets old.
I thought it was ended up more than that. Or was that
$2,522.
that was the end? Okay. For some reason, I thought it was 28.
No. Well, our goal was 2,000. And
Yeah.
Tim had hopped on last night on Predator's Rejects, and one guy dyed his beard, the other one dyed his hair, but we couldn't, right?
Oh, was that last night?
Well, they didn't do it live, but they did it, so, and they, yeah.
Yeah, but I still think.
Because I watched one of their shows. No, I watched their show last night.
Did Showcast last night. You were on, too. You were looking, too, so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get events and schedules down so I can put them up on my Facebook.
Well,
Very good. I posted something.
and Phantom Frank is very particular and anal when it comes to that stuff, so he did it. He probably sat there and did it multiple times. I know that for a fact. So he said, I gotta get all these things lined up and right. Just throwing out all that.
Some people would call that being a perfectionist.
Yes.
Jay would call that being anal.
Crazy.
That's what I do. I mean, I try to do that when I'm shooting. I want to line things up right.
Well, that goes. Well, I should hope so.
Oh, yes. So, Halflings tonight. They continue. We haven't done this for a few weeks because of the fundraiser. We've done Elves and Dwarves. Tonight, Halflings. Next week, Gnomes. There's Wiley.
Ooh.
Wiley, did you get that package already or not? It may come Monday to you. So Wiley Hobbit won the 2,000th follower drawing for subscribers on Thursday night, and he gets a shirt.
It's luck of the hairy.
He's getting a stratagem screen, a Mike Disney signed Overgourd picture, and a Lord Gazumba shirt. We did that to celebrate 2,000. All right, not yet. So, yeah. That's cool, man. It'll probably come on Monday. So I got that out. I think Thursday. So no, Friday morning. Whatever. Yes, thank you. So let's start our customarily 1 minute early. It worked.
My cutting isn't making extra background noise.
It's no big deal, man. Just stop it. No, I'm just kidding. So welcome everyone. Hello. How is everyone this evening? Thank you for a great audience to start off. I'm J.A., a.k.a. Lord Gazumba, and I got tonight. I have two individuals who played in Carlos's fundraiser game. I got Jason Zavoda tonight, the man about town with the great lists that, the fantastic index. I got the ever mysterious, and he's got a name like that, Tim. And I got Will. Return to the Bandit Kingdoms Wicked Studios LLC. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
Although I got to point out, we're starting season 4. We haven't done Bandit Kingdoms in like a year.
Really? I thought you were going back to it.
No. No.
I'm sorry.
Not right away. We're going to the Bone March.
Oh, awesome.
That's where the next campaign
That's
starts.
great. It's like ingrained in my head, I guess. You know.
Well, that's how it all got started. So
Well, it's
we were synonymous with that for over a year.
okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
That's
Me
Tuesday
being a
night,
fool
isn't it,
again.
Will?
So sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm used to being ignored.
So, but hey, man, it's still. I mean, your content's awesome. So, everyone loves it, and hey, the little people. Yeah, we got a nice crowd tonight. Yeah, halflings tonight. Now, I want to point out something. You go back to Lord of the Rings. They actually use the word halfling in those books. It's kind of like a slur
Yes.
for Hobbit, right?
It's the term used, I think, by either the writers or by Gondor. I can't remember which. Somebody's talking and saying, "Yeah, in our myths, there's the halflings," and so somebody refers to them as that.
Yeah, they
Someone.
do. So halfling is not a unique term to D&D. It was used in the Lord of the Rings books.
And I've read
So-
Lord of the Rings.
I'm
at least
surprised
10
they let him
times.
get away with that.
That was a
with that.
general term of like, and someone put this on Praetor's Rejects the other night, which was funny. There, for example, they were playing Shokanth, Celestians 5e Shokanth, and the Pecks came up, and I typed in Peck because I knew what it was, and someone said, "Out of the way, Peck." Remember that from Willow?
Right.
And I guess
the
it's
way,
almost like a
Peck.
slang term, and I guess they couldn't use hobbits like they can't use ents, so they decided that halfling was okay. Gygax didn't, and that's what they're using. So, for that race. All right, so let's go. Let's go around the table and discuss initial thoughts on halflings. Jason, start with you.
Well, I was going to say that Tolkien probably got halfling from a source, so it's probably not unique to him because
Right.
his material is all based on mostly Norse and Finnish mythology and religion and old
Nice.
stories.
Great
Yeah, that's
point.
the first thing I was thinking. Is like, okay, so where did that exist prior to? And it makes
He
me
had
want to go and look that up.
He taught a course in Icelandic literature, I believe, also.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
He's a professor.
and,
He
out
probably
of
spoke it, but he probably did it in the original language.
Yeah.
well, he was a linguist. One of the things Tolkien liked doing was like for a vacation thing is he'd learn a new language. Like every summer, he'd learn a different language.
That's pretty impressive.
He's one of those people.
Well, I think he was like down up to about 80 languages.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
Well-
but I mean, he was the Oxford dean of languages. I thought.
Yeah.
So you truly believe that he got it from somewhere.
I seem to, I was a big Tolkien nut, so I've looked into all that. I've read the big multi-volume set that his son put out of case condensed material. I've got that 2-volume thing about the origins of the Hobbit story. But the big thing with getting away from Tolkien and into Gygax, I don't think Gygax tried to avoid Tolkienisms. I mean, I know there's a lot of things that have been, from the original where he did Ents and Hobbits and stuff, but I don't think that Tolkien, in that sense, in general, was that a big influence on Gygax, except halflings really are. From what I've seen, the halflings really are the Tolkien halflings in Greyhawk. They're pretty much what you're assuming is that
Yes.
you don't have to do a lot about describing a halfling in Greyhawk because you can basically use the ideas of the Shire and how they were and their heroism and their commonplace, and that pretty much rounds up what halflings are. But throughout the various published material, there is not a great deal. Gygax in his folio and box set doesn't really give them much of a mention. There's a paragraph, a small paragraph. Sargent didn't seem very big on halflings. In the Living Greyhawk Gazette here, there's about half a page, but a lot of that's just physical description.
Right.
They probably have to include it because they know I mean, everyone's informed by the Tolkien
Oh yeah, I mean,
writing, so you can't not include them.
well, it's
I mean,
sort of like it
Do you
became
want to be in a
canon.
world with no halflings?
It became canon for D&D, but then it's like, Jason's talking about where including of Gygax wasn't big on Tolkien. No, he wasn't, but the players were. That's why all that stuff ended up in there to keep it. Oh, okay? I'll put some Ents in there. I'll do this. I'll do that. It was for the players.
Do you know one of the things Tolkien? This is trivia. One of the things Tolkien did that was different before he wrote it is that when you wrote about something plural, it was elves and dwarfs.
Mhm.
He's the one who made it VES, elves and dwarves.
Right.
His writings. It never was that way before.
Interesting point. So we got two from the audience. Gitano says, Halfling comes from the Scots word Hufflin, meaning an awkward rustic teenager who is neither man nor boy, and so half of both. And David Leonard Snafu puts the Finnish Kaleval's saga was apparently a huge influence, although Lord of the Rings is a post-Great War novel. Thank you guys for that. Just to figure it out where it came from, but I think we're all very happy that they're in D&D, and especially Greyhawk. So I know, Will, this is one of your favorites. So
oh yes, I love halflings.
What's the reasoning? Tell us why.
Because they're the ultimate underdog. I mean, let's put it. We were just talking about when all these different publications that come out. Halflings are always what? They're the footnote. But and that's they're included, but they're never really given a spotlight, so to speak.
Right.
They're never the main guy. They're never the main hero. They're always the guy off to the side watching the knight in shining armor sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a role that they've filled since they've been in the game, and in literature too, for that matter. I mean, so what's there not to like to root for the underdog?
That's right.
It's
I mean, now I gotta go Tolkien again. The halflings represent us. They represent the regular people.
Yeah.
All these big giant heroes and everyone else are like the superheroes, and the halflings represent the normal people.
Yes.
And so, and who is the key to the whole success of everything? The normal people who just grit it out, they grind it out. They're the underdogs.
Yep. Great point. All great points.
Love that.
I like. We got a whole bunch to discuss. I love halflings. I really do. But once again, and I'm not slamming any edition. I really, if you go back to a 1E, 2E, they're really limited in class, and then that disappears somewhere down the road, right? They're allowed more and more of classes, and it's extremely limiting in our edition, but there's ways around things. You know what I mean? There's ways
how limiting are they? They can be fighters.
Yeah,
fighters.
Thieves. All right, thieves. So here's the chart.
The basic classes, that's all of them except for clerics.
Well, they can be clerics too. So we have halflings in our edition can be fighters. They can be clerics. They can be specialty priests, but we don't have a written up specialty priest of a halfling deity because no one in my campaigns requested one yet.
Well, the problem is
druids and thieves
are about the home. They're about the home front. So a specialty priest would stay home with the.
Well, there's adventuring types. Guardian is meant to be, and we'll talk about the Guardian class, which it's out of Dragon Magazine, and we'll adapt it for 5e for everyone. They're meant to be the sheriffs or the actual protectors, but you're only allowed to have one per village, so that's how you get adventuring ones. Yeah. So there's those classes of it. But like, Will, what kind of classes have you played in 5e with halflings?
Everything.
Okay. There you go.
And I prefer to. That's the thing is, once you get into 3rd edition, that's when it really opens up for everything for the halfling.
Yeah.
And then 5th edition even more, because like the restrictions that were on halflings and stuff, and the different things that were, specific for them are gone in 5th edition.
Okay.
So you have a halfling sorcerer.
Have a halfling sorcerer. Have a halfling barbarian.
Tim's head's gonna explode with that one.
Now I know they do that.
But that's okay. I mean, playing a different edition is fine. But when you think about Greyhawk halflings, which we're going to discuss, I mean, you're really limited to certain basic things that are, especially in published sources. Mostly everyone thinks of thieves, right?
Because that's what they're
That's-
naturally good at.
Yeah, they're still predisposed, even if you go up into 5th edition.
They're
And
just
3rd, they're predisposed to be. They're the best race to have for thief.
Well,
They're
those
just
5e
quiet.
bonuses, the racial bonuses, that the halflings get that big dex bump. So
it's just base
they're
dex.
just quiet and nimble, and they stay out
right.
of trouble.
That's right.
now,
Yeah,
the
Phantom,
pirate-
that's where you and I mean, just because we played in the old school for so long, and we like, we love the way we have it set up, and it's not for everyone. So 5e,
What
we're
have
going
you
to
got
talk
in your
about.
pockets?
Yeah, we're definitely going to
Back
talk
in Moldvay, they had it where if the halfling stood still, and I'm assuming this is probably derived straight from OD&D, if they just stood still, there was a chance that you would overlook them. That was an actual rule.
But you know what? That actually bears
Yeah.
itself because in when you're doing tactical training and moving in the woods, they always, as soon as you stop, you take a knee. So you
Right.
you kneel, so you're short. And
Yeah,
I tell you what, I've walked to the woods and I've been almost 10 feet away from somebody kneeling, and you missed them until you got right up on them.
Yeah. Well, you make yourself a smaller target.
And it's because they're above the eye line. You're
Yeah.
looking up here, you're looking around, and then all of a sudden, and so that's not far fetched.
well, they're also breaking the pattern. Like you're looking for certain pattern recognitions, and somebody kneeling breaks the standing pattern, so your eye doesn't catch it as well.
I know it works.
By the way, please take a look at that picture of the deranged DM with the Lurka Zumba shirt on right below me there.
Casey.
So,
Does he have spiked hair? Is he spiking his hair?
I don't know what he did, but that's him playing at his game with his group, and he said the bad guys had 12 critical hits because he wore the Lurka Zumba shirt. So I'm like, it's doing its job. So had to put that out there.
Those are his DM's horns.
Yeah, exactly. There's his evil DM's horns. All right.
Normally, those things are invisible, but
Our basis for our campaign for Greyhawk for us is Dragon 59, the halfling point of view, right? Great article. I think it's Roger Moore. And then right after that, he has, and this is the same Dragon 59, the gods of the halflings. And you have Yandala appears in deities and demigods, and Yandala is like the supreme goddess of the halflings, and she is more of she's like, I guess you could call her the protector, even though Arvreen is the defender. They have a lot of protecting going on. Yandala's protector, provider, and fertility. Now I found a picture of her, but that's a Forgotten Realms version. So my guess is that she's big in Forgotten Realms as well.
There
yeah,
was a
because
picture of her in one of the Dragon articles.
What's that?
Was there? There was a picture in the Dragon magazine.
Not of
article,
Yandala.
wasn't
no,
Are
it's
you
of
sure?
what's her?
They're all going
no.
to scroll next after Yandala. All the rest of them: Saroli and Shiro Perioil and Arverine and
They kind of have a
Brandabaris.
hot one.
Yeah.
She's kind of hot.
Yeah. So, but that's the one I found, and it's actually Forgotten Realms version of Yandala. So,
Well, most of the demi-human gods from Greyhawk make it over into.
So right,
Realms.
because the demi-human ones they just use for both, and so that's Yandala is a protector. Arverine is what the Guardians usually worship the class, and that's a picture of him as a defender. We have not had, who'd have thought exactly? We have not had a single request. Well, we just did for our new group of firsts, but then I guess he got transient and forgot already. For me to write up a specialty priest class of one of the halfling deities, and that's in 40 years. So now you
See, that's what I'm talking about. Always overlooked.
always overlooked, but we have most of the clerics. We don't have a single straight cleric halfling in the campaign, not one. They're multi-class. They're either, and they all tend to be cleric thieves. As far as I can recall, yeah, they're all cleric thieves. There's no
prefer
fighter
cleric.
clerics at all that I can think of.
Cleric non-backed entrepreneur.
Exactly.
It's much
Exactly.
nicer.
Well, you're going to get more levels out of going thief if your primary was to be cleric, right?
Well,
So
remember
that-
it's multi-class, so it's at the
Well,
same time. It's not like third
Right.
edition where one over the other, and then they go at the same time. But the big one and the most powerful one that I've seen is Druid Thief multi-class in our game.
Absolutely.
That is disgusting for a halfling. And Tim's dad, we'll just talk right off the bat here. Hey, what's up there, Mike? What's going on, Mike Disney? Good to see you, man.
Hey, Mike.
The most disgusting character,
Hi,
I
Mike.
think, of all the halflings, we'll go right off the bat, is Tim's dad, John, in the Iron Brigade, has a character, Petronius Niger Took. Okay, so what? He ripped it off from Lord of the Rings. 12th level druid, 12th level thief. Now, the druid at 12th level gets 7th level spells. It's a disgusting character. And he has this fighting.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He's neutral, of course. But he does not get along with Alan's gnome, Kroger Blackrock, an illusionist thief.
Kroger's an asshole.
So what happens is Kroger sends illusions to screw around with Petronius in town, and Petronius summons all these animals to go up and like hump the gnome's leg. So this is going on all the time.
That's dangerous because then you get a big enough dog. Well.
Yeah, so that's what's going on. With this, that kind of the fun things that are going on in Greyhawk City. When you get high level, I guess you tend to have to entertain yourself. So that's probably one of the. It's not the highest level. We'll get to that highest level halfling we have in the campaign, but it's one of the most powerful. I mean that is pretty impressive. Jason, what have you in your halflings in your campaign? Where anyone surpassed it?
Well, it's halfling society. They're pretty much throughout my finesse in my campaign. I kept them to where they're strongly listed in Ernst and Ulick in the the box sets. And if you look at the old '83 box set with their random encounter tables, you see that they're really not very widespread. They can be found in like Geoff and Sterich and a little bit in Furiandi, but basically any noted societies of them, they're not even listed really noted in the city of Greyhawk.
That's true. Good point, Jason. So Jason's index he compiled for me, and he posted it too on Hall the Mountain King a couple days ago. Has the only notable populations are in the Ulick states and Ernst. 4,000 in the county of Ulick, and a lot of our halflings come from the county of Ulick. 3,000 in the county of Ernst and 5,000 in the duchy of Ernst, and that is it. Now we have them in the Cron Hills in our campaign, right? We have them some in a couple other areas, especially the Cairn Hills. There's a town called Elmshire right on the near Deve. It's right on the Greyhawk map, and that's a complete halfling community. So we have that. Any other specific places you can think of? I mean, you got Celine down here.
Yeah,
Jason.
I know. Well, what it is the old the old folio and box sets, a little bit of a hodgepodge in their design of the various nations and populations and stuff. And I think that they didn't do like Carl Sargent, when he did his From the Ashes, that was him. So there's a nice consistency. And Living Greyhawk is that tier with Gary Hollian and Eric Mona. They were very consistent. But the original box set's kind of, Greyhawk that we see, that's not Gygax's home campaign. This is the published version. So this material isn't just solidly Gygax. It's Gygax like the school of Gygax,
Okay.
The old PSR. So when they put things together, one of the things for populations is I take a little heavier weight to when they actually put a number down, but they mention, like they'll say Celine, and it'll say halfling, but it won't say anything about the population. It'll just mention that halflings are in Celine. So it's really up to the DM to decide, well, what weight, are there 100 halflings, or are there 1,000?
Right.
Because there's no numbers mentioned whatsoever.
I'm surprised Verbabonk isn't on this list. I thought there'd be some halflings in around
No,
Verbabonk.
and if you look at the random encounter table in the 83 box set, Verbabonk does not list halflings as a random encounter.
Okay.
So
Well, one of
that-
the things about halflings, especially in Greyhawk, is that well, this is something that they keep with all the editions and a lot of the different, even in like the Forgotten Realms, that halflings live amongst the other races for protection and what have you.
Well,
I mean, Greyhawk's the one too where they go and the was it Hairfeet, Tallfellow, and Stout. They're busted up, and they say that they live close to or amongst human, elf, and dwarf, and then that's where you get the different variations of them. And that only is in Greyhawk. When you go to Forgotten Realms, and then now it's gotten rid of when they don't talk about that with 5th edition. Or in 3rd edition, they got rid of that part of it. So you can have halflings, I guess, basically wherever there's a major city,
Sure,
because you have the little halfling, like Little Italy, you got little halfling.
Now,
Literally,
right,
little halfling.
one of the things
that's right.
Go ahead, Jason.
No, I was just agreeing with Will about the Little Italy kind of thing where you will have, and that's a very Tolkienism too, where they have the town outside the Shire, which is mixed human and halfling, and I think that you would see in these cities these little areas that were like a street that's all halfling and right in the midst of a human settlement.
Yeah. One of the things I really liked about, now this is a different game, Warhammer fantasy roleplay, is that the halflings kind of all have cooking as one of their sets. Everyone knows how to cook. And so one of the signs of prestige is having a halfling cook.
Right.
Because they know what they're doing. And so that's how they spread. So they run businesses and they do a lot of things because they got it going on when it comes to food. And that's...
Well, let me show you a specific community that I developed, and it's kind of like a home away from home. Of course, I'll probably press the wrong button and destroy the entire stream as we go through our maps here of Greyhawk. All right, well that's Clipdale. That's all humans. You don't want to go there. All right, so here, if you look at this map right in the middle, this is our Principality Ulick Pomarge border map. You see Archit. Archit is named in the Lord of the Rings. It's one of the towns around Bree, right? There's like 4 or 5 communities around Bree. Archit is a halfling community that we have not far from Havenhill. A lot of the high-level halflings actually, and particularly a guy who doesn't play anymore, Garnett, his character Prince Patrick, and he was a prince of nothing. He just like calling himself Prince. He's got a mirror of mental prowess, so he like pretends to live in Altamira, steps through it, and then he stays in Archit. So kind of like this is like the halfling home away from home in my campaign there. So that's been added to the map by Anna, thank you. But that's a community mostly of halflings right in the Principality of Ulick. So let me flip back there. Boom, boom, boom. So I guess you can place them wherever you want, obviously, right? So hey, Daka, what's going on? Hey, Tom.
Daka, flaka, flame.
Well, that's what's interesting. Like the Greyhawk setting is really such a DM's place. It's a do-it-yourself thing that Gygax really wanted. And you can, of course, do anything you want in the campaign. But the halflings are within a campaign that is pretty bare bones. They're exceptionally bare bones.
Yes.
So they're less noted than gnomes, dwarves, elves. They're all noted, but halflings really are like the redheaded stepchild there. They're really off to the side, and but at the same time, Gygax really he had a place for them in his campaign. He just didn't really have a big society for them, and that is noted. It's noted in all the resources that their particular society melds in with the stronger human societies around them.
Which makes sense. So,
But even if you took them away from the humans, the plus they get, like out of the monster manual, your base halfling, they get a big bonus of missile weapons. The generic have plus 3.
oh yeah, I
That
thought it was
is-
+4, wasn't it? For or is that just with slings?
First
thought things
edition is
in-
pl-
slings
plus
and
3
short
with missile
bows.
weapons, like for the like in the monster manual. I think it's plus 3.
Hmm.
I don't think they get plus 3 as a player character.
No, wait.
But,
No, wait a minute. So, right in this, I believe, in the halflings in our campaign get +3 to hit, always with short bow and sling.
there
Okay?
you go.
So, 18 dexterity halfling at first level is +6 to hit with a short bow or
Woohoo!
a sling. We have some nasty characters. They're like one in particular. Let's talk about that real quick. A fighter, straight halfling fighter that is specialized in short bow, and that is Walt's character, and he's in the Order of Ulick. Killian Holbrook. He's 9th level. He's the 202nd member to join the Order of Ulick, and we're only up to 214. Okay. And that is a character. Now he's not like an archer where he keeps on going up, but he's like +10 to hit, +4 damage. It's disgusting with
You
a
might as
short
well
bow.
call him like the ice shooter.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he only gets 2 shots around with it because we only have archers get 3 now. But it's still a disgusting character as a halfling. And a thief, even a thief with thieves can use short bow. It's a great backup to your thieving abilities to have that. So, you're saying that most halflings have Will, what do they get in 5e when they're plus on their decks?
It's +2, but 5e halfling has a lot of their special abilities is completely different now. Halflings have become the lucky race, and
Does it get lucky?
they have halfling luck, which essentially allows them to, anytime they roll a 1, they get to re-roll. Boom! They never fumble.
How about if they roll it twice in a row?
They roll it again. A halfling cannot roll a 1.
That
Oh
is.
wow!
I'm
Sweet.
sorry.
So
Definitely do that.
No wonder people play halflings.
If I make a 5e,
actually,
halfling,
that's it. No, dude, people still don't play halflings, man.
Oh my
You
gosh!
know, halfling luck, and there's a bunch of other feats that they've got together, which are racial specific, where they can so many times a day, if one of their friends or companions rolls a fumble, they can give them a reroll.
Okay.
But that's a limited amount that they have for that. So they've really changed the whole, because you used to have, and then like in 3rd edition, you still had the bonus for the melee. It wasn't as much as it was in 1st, but they had all the small size bonuses, like they get the plus to armor and a plus to hit because of the small size against bigger creatures. That's gone now too in 5th edition.
So Delthanon says you have
I
to
don't know
use
if
the
they had
second
that.
one, Will.
No, that's well, you know what? Double check. I think anytime that a halfling rolls a 1, it automatically rolls it. I don't think it's a re-roll and then take whatever you roll.
Well, I support
next.
your view. Oh, they have nothing to do with 5e. I definitely agree
You know what?
with you.
I'll double check. I thought it was
It's okay.
a
Your
because
campaign.
The odds of that
better
happening are
than
400 to 1. So
but this could have been something that they did through the sage advice too,
okay.
because here, let me find out real quick.
Yeah, check that out. So Jason, going back old school, I know you've been doing a little 5e here. Do you got any memories of like a great halfling that, like, wow, like whether it was published source or whether it was your own doing in your campaigns that you like fell in love with?
Well, I had a halfling group in City of Greyhawk based on the old Phineas Fingers halfling.
Beautiful.
The
Oh, Phineas. They were bad. They were evil in Phineas.
well,
They were evil,
they were
Jay,
a rough
just
group.
misunderstood.
They were definitely not. They were definitely at least neutral in Phineas.
Oh man, because it was the Halfling Thieves Guild that they was fighting against.
Yeah, yeah. I had the Halfling Thieves Guild at war in City of Greyhawk. Gygax was big on this inner warfare city thing. His big theme in his novels was the beggars versus the thieves guilds.
Oh
But
yeah.
I threw in a whole bunch of different things, and I always liked that theme. And one of the offshoots was this guild of halfling thieves, and they were a vicious little lot.
All right. So I agree, and maybe that was where Roger Moore got his idea for Spunk, which we'll get to, right? Because it's Halfling Thieves Guild as well, but there's other races allowed in it, and maybe that's where that idea came from. Anna wants to know what the hell you're cutting, Tim. We're gonna show.
All right.
And
so-
Delthanen, by the way, Delthanen was correct. You do have to use
Okay,
the second
cool.
roll. You do have to use the second roll.
Explain it.
So I'm preparing elements of the city state next time we play.
Ooh.
We got to go urban. We got to get a little bit. There's going to be a lot of role play, but at some point we're going to go tactical. And a building that looks great on the outside, but it's just a little resin square that's too tiny on the inside is not going to work. So I've been building using shoot, what's the name of the company?
But you should see what he has.
WorldWorks. So I have, these are the floors that I'll be using. So this is the streets, right? Various street. Now this is all paper printed and put on foam board.
Oh, yeah.
There's a system for interlocking them. So the interior buildings.
Tim's taking his shit seriously for the next.
We're going into city state.
Yes,
Yeah.
we may have a date in April. April's going to be the next one after Gary Con.
The dilemma is this: when you're doing it on a table, you have a map out. Everyone looks at a map. So how do we show the map? Because the city is too huge to do what Frank did. I'm sorry, I can't spend $2,000 to build it.
Okay.
Or whatever. I can't do it. And plus, I don't know where I'd put it, and I don't know if I could actually organize it in a way that wouldn't drive me totally insane. So I have to make something that's flexible. So I have to have a way for us to look at the two-dimensional map on the table, a way for us to look at this, an urban setting, plus going into buildings, because
Yes.
going into buildings because it's the city state. And I have to do Jay right, and I have to do the characters right because it's the city state.
You have to.
So there's.
And the main character is the city, right?
The main character is the whole campaign setting, right?
Yeah,
No matter what's going on outside of with Judges Guild, I don't care because we've had this stuff for 50 years. So let's
I
just
bought
say
the stuff when I was in 2 digits, when I was like barely 10 or 11 or
so
12.
we're not getting new stuff or anything. This is old stuff, and we're staying there with the old stuff. So
right.
yes.
And when I was in college, I had somebody actually scan the map. So I have a map, and it's very high resolution. So I should be able to get us to see it. But anyway, that's what I'm cutting. Just stuff that supports it.
He's multitasking, which is good. All right. So 2 questions. Let me go to Jason first, just because I want to get a mental note on here. Halflings in literature outside Lord of the Rings. The discussion is going on right now in the chat. Go, Jason.
Well, there is the one that I remember, of course, and Luke Gygax was on recently here through Carlos's interview, and I'm sure I've got to rewatch it because I'm sure I brought it up or it was mentioned. Luke's character Melf had a henchman that is featured in the Greyhawk novel. Well, part of it in Artifact of Evil, which is the old TSR, the second Gygax novel. And then later on in his New Infinity book, which is an anthology called Knight Errant.
Tim, stop singing.
And he is he's this henchman of Melf named Biff Digwell. And
Biff Digwell, nice name.
Yes, and it mentions all the various families, where he's from. Gives you a little detail on how Gygax was thinking about halflings within the campaign.
Is a bit of comedy relief, a little bit.
I know, but no more than it's a pretty serious part of the adventures there with uh, he's mentioned in the Artifact of Evil, which is where they're going after the Barristan stuff, and then later on in I think the Gygax's short story Five Dragon Bowl, which brings up the Sufang dynasty, which is the mention of an Asian culture in Greyhawk.
Okay. Well, it's good to see that they're in literature, and I know that there was some discussion over on the post there, and I wanted to address that, which is cool. Yeah, it's just it's hard. I mean, halflings are like you're right, Will. They're the underdog, and they
And
they're
overdog.
they're underlooked a lot in adventures.
So they don't take the hits of the biggies.
Absolutely, and giants are -4 to hit them, so are trolls, right? I don't know how that goes in 5e. Are they -20 to hit them in 5e? I'm sorry, that was a bad joke, but
No, they don't have any of those bonuses.
oh, they don't have those. Okay, they don't have those in 5e. So, Will, how many halflings have been played on your streams?
None.
Really?
Again, because there's no love for the halflings when it comes to most folk.
And you don't play an active NPC in your game, or you'd probably have one.
Oh, now if NPCs, that's completely different.
Okay.
I have a with halflings. I love that they have this whole. They're the homie. They live at home. They cook. They don't want to go adventure. But then there's the every once in a while you get the juxtaposo. They get the type that like to go and do that stuff.
Well, they also rise to the occasion, right?
Well, they'll rise to the occasion when it is supposedly with like protecting the home and all that different stuff. But like every so often, there's the one that likes to go adventuring, the one that likes to go, make a name for themselves, and
Just
they're
kind of
considered
like-
the black sheep. And like
It's kind of like us.
yeah.
So,
The
David Leonard asked any gnomes
gnomes. Oh, there's tons
on your
of
stream.
gnomes. There were tons of gnomes in the Bandit Kingdoms
No, that were played on your streams. Any?
that were played. None were played.
Okay.
They were NPCs though.
All right.
So,
Okay.
but the Bray clan is a halfling clan that I use in all of
In
my
games. Okay.
Greyhawk stuff,
Okay.
and they're like the halfling mob. And so basically they're thieves for hire and things like that. And so you can go and hire them to help do a job or something along these lines.
So Jason has the Thieves Guild from Phineas Figures. You have the Halfling Mob, and I have Spunk. So we all have them. We all have these secret Halfling organizations, right? Which is pretty cool when you think about it. And Tim's world, one of Walt's characters is named Horton, and he's a high-level thief, and he's got his
He's
own
the
thief-
highest level character.
Yeah, was he 14th?
14th level.
Yeah, he's 14th level straight thief, and he's got a thieves guild of his own. So it's pretty funny that there are these secret organizations that we all have, which is cool when you think
That's right.
about it. So
Nothing to see here.
yeah,
There's nothing to see here.
that's awesome. So I'm trying to go way back. So the first player character that we had in our game, Alan had, and he ripped it right off from Lord of the Rings names because you can't be. Sometimes your brain doesn't work and you can't be original. So he had Sam.
It's harder when you're younger.
He wasn't. He was in college or in high school at the time.
That's younger than he is now.
Sam is the 58th character in the Order of Ulick, and then the first halfling
Really?
PC. Yeah, you thought it would be lower, didn't you?
I thought it would be so. Yeah, mine's like older.
You got to remember, he's like third generational character, right? He's after first generational is all our original characters, all our NPCs. Second generation is Murdoch, Swain, Elijah Winchester III, all those. And there were no halflings in that. Then the next generation was Andrea Winchester, David Gradivus, Ace Broadhead, Tom the Vindicator, and Sam, right? So he was like third generational of players. That was the first halfling we had. And he is the highest character brought up from first in the campaign at 17th level. because they go up real quick, right? Straight thieves. Now 5th edition, everyone's the same, but back then, boom, 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 straight up, right?
Everybody's the same.
Yeah. Same experience tables
How
in 5e.
very
Correct, Will?
Yep. Everybody goes up as
smoothly.
the.
Yes, Wiley, my campaign, the Order of Uluk campaign. So here's a listing right now, Wiley, question of the active members of the Order of Uluk. It goes on 2 pages. All right. These are mostly PCs, some NPCs. Well, I can't do it because I'm going backwards, but there's every single character. To date, there are 214 characters that are in the Order of Uluk, the organization. Some of them are dead. So here's the rest in peace list off of that, right? Rest in peace. And then here is the inactive list of a lot of characters that are no longer played or have retired. So yeah, and that's been Here's the funny thing. So his character Sam is 17th. Tim has a character that originally, when he was a kid, was playing on his own and was brought into my campaign probably around 5th level or whatever, or maybe a little higher, named Leuven, who used to adventure with my character with Gazumba and Hawk and Fensick and Leuven, and that's who used to all adventure together when Tim DM'd for us. Leuven is 18th level thief, halfling. All right, so there's a little bit of a friendly rivalry between the two. Why don't you go from there, Tim?
Well, the rivalry part is not on Leuven's part because he's not really that smart. He's not really in competition. He just likes to hang out and have fun. However, he always seems to be one level higher than Sam, and Sam's always trying to pass him. And Jay makes sure that never happens. That's all on Jay. It has nothing to do with my character. My character is he has a very, very high wisdom and very, very low intelligence. So he's not really paying. Some stuff he misses, but he tries to live well, live decently and live sensibly. So
yes.
Well,
what was
competition?
What was
slip him a little Diet Pepsi on the side, right?
Yeah, he's a little bit. He's like Forrest Gump. He's like,
So I'm multitasking here. Gary Kahn edition of their journal last year was 28, and that's where was it 28 or 29?
It was 28.
All right, so Phantom, you want to go to Earth Journal 28 and Greyhawk Online. I got 2 articles in there, and it goes over the Order of Uluk. I'm just trying to answer someone's question here. So there's Greyhawk Online, and the Greyhawk Discord, which you're a member of. Okay. But Greyhawk Online, Earth Journal 28 has some information.
Snafu said I should play a halfling named Tiny Tim.
Yeah, with a crutch.
So
I could play that good.
Leuven,
no doubt, with the crutch, that would be awesome.
Help me, Seth.
Leuven's got 7 intelligence, right? And he's a tall fellow. He also has Gauntlets of Ogre power, which I rarely allow. And he also since he's a tall fellow, he can use a longsword. Tall fellow halflings.
He has a broadsword.
I thought he had a longsword too. No?
Well, I'm sure he probably does.
So he's got a couple of 1-ups on Sam, who's a little smaller and can only use short swords and daggers. And I always just, Anna, yes, I am an evil DM. So whenever Sam gets to go up, I make sure Leuven's 1 level above him. I've done that for the last 6 levels.
And I don't care if he's higher level.
I know, but I do.
I will always play him better. I always play mine better, even if he's higher level.
There you go.
But maybe we'll get back. I mean, we're doing so much during this 40th anniversary year.
There was the one instance where Sam and Leuven together decided to go in on a caper.
Yes.
And didn't we shut down the dude's business? He was done.
Yeah, well, this guy thought all right, so quick story on halflings. This guy, and this was during the High Port adventuring 1-on-1, where Skeeve, which is Tim's highest level, mage thief, was doing stuff, and there was this potion vendor, and he was a jerk, right? The guy was a real dick.
Yes, he was a total.
And he was tied in with the slavers, so they go, we're gonna rip this guy off. Well, this guy thought he had an impenetrable vault, right? And then I didn't realize one of them had a wand of a mineral command or whatever, staff of metal command, which can crystal brittle any metal. So, boop, crystal brittle the top, smashed the glass, went in. I'm like, great. rip the guy off for
we
like.
cleared this dude out. Not only did we take every single potion he had. Well, I think Skeeve had already done a serious damn on him, but these guys cleared every last bit of coin. I mean, they had a buried vault somewhere. We had to get down to the vault. It was just.
It was disgusting. I mean, this would be like Henry Hill's Caper and Goodfellas type. It made them.
It was like,
Yeah.
Hey, look, we can go do this too.
Yeah.
They didn't even plan. They just kind of said, "Hey, let's go do this," and they just.
See,
Yeah.
they can work together.
They can. It's once again it's a friendly rivalry thing.
Right.
And
they
we
hang
have
out.
them.
They hang out together. So I mean, it's not like
small people.
They're not enemies.
The small people. It's like Petronius, his dad's Druid thief, and Alan's. It's always Alan's characters with these tensions, and the gnome Kroger Blackrock in Greyhawk City doing stuff to each other as well, right? I guess the halflings have that small person complex, right? So they're going back and forth at each other. It's pretty funny.
Well, Kroger's really rude.
Yeah. He is.
So he's
rude,
going to be
definitely.
offensive.
So, if I recall correctly, David, tall fellow halflings with long swords is a rule in 1E, correct, Tim? Or did you just run with it and tell me it's a rule?
I'm going to think that it probably is because I don't make stuff.
Is it a monster manual?
I think it may
It's a
be
monster manual.
I just looked that up. I didn't see anything about the long sword in the monster manual.
Oh, the original monster manual, no?
Yeah, the monster manual 1E.
I bet you it's. You know what? I bet you it's in the halfling point of view article. I bet you it's in this article right here.
I never would have used that. I
I know, because you don't abuse rules.
But it's interesting about the Monster Manual 2 is that since Greyhawk was the only setting, basically if you look at the DM's guide, the player's handbook, and Monster Manual 1 and 2, when they talk about things, you comport that stuff right into the Greyhawk campaign. So, like, if they're talking about the way monsters are in the Monster Manual, like the little write-up on the halflings there, that's basically going to tell you that's the Greyhawk halfling write-up.
True.
From the old 1E stuff.
Definitely. Well, someone will. Gitana will end up finding this somewhere. I know that'll.
I am determined I'm going to find it. I think it's Unearthed Arcana, maybe. Because Unearthed Arcana get a little bit more granular into the races.
It could be Unearthed Arcana too. You could be correct on that.
like Yondella, that's the.
Oh shoot! It's looking like pretty.
So Tim's been cheating for 40 years.
It just says they're described on page 17 of Player's Handbook. So no, it's got to be the Player's Handbook.
So, but hey, it's one character in the entire campaign. So
I would have never made something up.
No, you don't do that.
I mean, I would have pushed it if I had read it, but I never would have made it up.
Yeah, I've allowed it since day one with that one character. So, the Order of Uluk has all different sorts of races and classes. As long as you're good alignment, you can join. It's not just knights. It's not just cavaliers and paladins. So thieves have their place too, and there's a lot of halflings in the Order of Uluk. I counted 6. 5. I counted 5. So you got Leuven and Sam, both who we discussed. Marco, who has been on hiatus, has a really good character. And ready for this name? Nick Nack Paddywhack. Okay. Well, Nick Nack is a straight fighter. He's a dual wielder. He's only 8th level, so he's never made his full knight status. And he wears an eye patch. For no reason, he wears an eye patch. So he'll be having on one eye one day and the other eye the other day. He's not missing an eye. He just wears an eye patch. So you figure that halflings do all sorts of weird things. He has a brother, Spooter Paddywhack.
Is he a pirate?
No, he's from the county York.
You know why pirates wore patches, right?
Tell us why.
Okay, so pirates would wear a patch. Oh, they would have 2 good eyes. They would wear a patch over one eye, so that when they were boarding the ship and then go below deck, they could take the patch off.
Oh, and the vision.
And they'd be able to
night vision.
Yeah. to see under below decks easier to be able to kill, as opposed to the bright sunlight on top deck when they were coming down.
Thank you for that, Will. I did not hear that. That's awesome.
It's true, matey. It's true.
Well, thank you very much for that follow. That's not the reason why Nick Nack did it. He did it because he thought it was cool looking. So, but that's the way halflings are. But that's good to know.
It
And
is
his
pretty
brother Spooter is a guardian actually, but he's a guardian that left his community, and he's 9th level. That is a nasty character, and we're going to discuss that in a few minutes, I think. Because we'll and guys, if you're 5 years and you do not use this, then shame on you, because it's fantastic. So great night driving advice too. Yeah,
cool. Right.
That's awesome, David. That's cool. Anyone, Jason, for you stick out on your list? Like, we'll go through a bunch of them, but do you have an NPC that like really sticks out to you as far as halflings go, or a published source?
Well, from published material. No, I'm a big Gygaxian, so I like that Biff Digwell stuff. That I've used him as one of my NPCs. But Melf and some of the Gord the Rogue characters, they were a little more accessible to me as terms of game NPCs than I found in some of the other published material.
Okay. Here's a question. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, out of my own campaign now, in the 70s when I was playing in New Jersey, it seemed like there were plenty of us who wanted to run halflings. And in fact, the book that I wrote about our giant series, the Hill Giant Chief, it has a halfling character, has a gnome character in that story that I wrote, and they reflect the characters that were played back in the 70s and early 80s.
What were they, mostly thieves?
Oh yeah. Well, no, the halfling is a thief and the gnome is an illusionist.
Any evil halflings in published modules? Yes, and let's do that. Hey, Jersey, what's going on? Here, let's show you that. And I brought them up Thursday night, David, and we're going to go right to the picture of one. And I'm
gonna step away for a short bit, and I'll be right back.
No problem. Okay, this is a picture of the slavers from the Slavers reference, and there is the bottom little halfling is named Kent. Kent is a bad halfling, also a coward. Neutral evil, if I recall correctly. 10th level, he's a slaver. He's the spy master of the slavers at Kayla and Lakos in the Pomarsh, but very cowardly and always has routes of escape in case he needs to go. So there you go, David. I gave you one that's right in published sources. Definitely not a nice halfling at all. Number 2, Griswold Harehand is a member of the Bone Shadow. Okay, he's from Elmshire, and he's a 15th level thief, and works for Ayus as a member of the Bone Shadow, and he always impersonates a cook or a servant or something for what he's doing and going. You can find him in Eyes of Evil, I think, on page 90. And Kent was in the Slavers reference. So there are 2 evil halflings that hopefully that answers your question. Yeah. And thank you to Jason's reference to make them easier to find. But I knew about Kent. I thought there was one that was in the Bone Shadow, but I didn't remember the name. So, you know what's really sad though? And I was going through Jason's reference, and I looked at a lot of these halflings, Will, and like for example on this reference, Blodgett the Survivor, and I'm like, oh, cool. He's mentioned. A lot of these guys are mentioned in multiple adventures. I'm thinking that's weird. Like this guy, this halfling here. Let me find him. And he's in U1, U2, and U3. Theodore Dobbins. I'm like, great. And he's in the back as a character you could play.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
These are just
sense.
a lot of.
It's just a
lot of
pre-gen. I'm
characters.
like, damn. I thought it was actually someone in the story, and it's not. It's actually pre-gens. Any references of halflings in the Tilvanot Peninsula? Go ahead, Jason. That's on you. I don't have no idea.
Well, the Tilvana, I'm not sure. I just was going to mention that that horrible WG10. I think what is it? Puppets.
Oh God.
The villain is called the Professor, who's a halfling.
Oh yeah, that's true. The professor is noted in here too, Jason. I saw that. Professor WG10 pages 316, 27, 28, and 32. 15th level thief. So there you go, and that's in puppets if you want to torture yourself with that adventure.
Or just take him out of the adventure.
Yeah. Now, another tinged evil halfling is, and of course, Culpy 609. That's Walt, my player, who was sick on Thursday. Hopefully, he'll be back this Thursday. You all know, most of his characters are disturbed one way or another. They just are. They all have weird sexual things, or they're right on the border. I'm just kidding, Walt. A lot of them are. This one, Moira Soshever, I can't even say her last name. Sheseverall, chaotic neutral halfling thief, female. We have a lot of female halflings in our campaign, which is great. 10th level, chaotic neutral with an evil tendencies. She has a dagger that it's an evil aligned dagger. When it backstabs once per day, it can do a paralyzation through it on its target. Now it does draw blood from her to sustain itself too, and then she gets skull and crossbone marks from everyone she kills using that dagger. So she loves. No, it's a Basilard. Basilard. I'm sorry, she uses Basilard in both hands. My apologies, not dagger. We have the Basilard weapon. So it's called a Basilard of Pain, or it's really nasty. So she's correct, Walt. She's on that evil twinged level, but not a true working for Ayu's evil, which is another whole level of evil. You got so. Do you have a lot of evil halflings as well in your campaign? That organization, or one? Are they lawful evil or lawful neutral, or
they're opportunists?
They're not necessarily evil. They're just selfish, maybe.
Yeah, they're the thing about the Bray Clan is that there's all kinds of that. One of their slogans is there's you got a problem, there's a Bray for that. So it's like they have thieves. They have the only thing that they don't have in the organization are basically like paladins, those sort of things. So like a guardian would be out of it. So that would be included too. But yeah, I mean, because they'll assassinate somebody for you. So
they may not have a guardian, but they probably have a bodyguard.
Oh yes, they do, and plenty of thugs. Plenty of thugs.
So it's more of a neutrally based organization.
More neutral, more for whatever situation. So I tend to make my gnomes evil. So
I'm getting a little bit of feedback on someone's channel. I'm not sure whose it is. So okay, well, it's gone now. That's good. Tim, we had a question out in the audience. Lenders asked, "Are there halfling vampires in Ravenloft?" I don't think so. In the original Ravenloft module, I don't think there's any halfling vampires.
I don't think so. But I think I had a halfling who was scared there.
Yes. So we're going to tell a quick story. Tim, I'll tell the beginning, you tell the end. So during one of our festival occurrences, Leuven and a couple other people, there was this woman, and she kept on coming up to the party, like talking to some of the people, like, I'm really worried.
She was a very young lady.
Yeah,
she was
I'm really
16.
worried about Pappy. He's acting strange. And so they thought, Leuven, with his self-intelligence, thought that this guy was like doing, abusing her, doing something he shouldn't be doing. And they couldn't. So when they went, they couldn't locate this guy. And they went to. Go ahead.
So
go ahead, tell a story.
Jay's kind of. There was definitely tension between her very sort of mean sort of father, who we'd see in the at evening events and stuff.
Right.
There was a lot of tension. She was a sweetheart, but she's always had this tension, and we thought something's not right. Now Leuven, we just thought she was a sweet girl and seemed like she needed help, but he didn't really know much. The paladin was like, "Hey, something's probably up. Can you go ahead and just kind of check in on some things?" So Leuven's, he's a sweetheart. He wants to help. So he sneaks into the room. He's not there to steal anything. He's just looking out. So he goes down. He's like, room looks normal. Then he notices under the bed, there's like this box, like it's unusual, sealed. Something's up. And he's like, Let's find out. So he goes and looks in the box, and he sees this girl's dad
Had put two and two
laying
together.
in the box. And I'm like, what's he doing under the bed? And then Jay goes, and then he goes, "Ah!" And it was a vampire.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's why there's a tension.
You
He's
should have
not
seen.
fighting
No,
her.
no. You screamed like a. I'm sorry. You screamed like a. Yeah. You went. "Ah!" Like it was so funny.
Oh yeah, I was role playing very well because he's like, so he screams, he's trying to get out of it. The guy missed him. He's jumping out of there like freaking out.
Yeah. Like where's the
The
paladin?
paladin leaps through the window, kills him, thinking,
Yeah.
he's doing good. And of course, she's like, "You killed my dad." So it was a mess. But from then on, Leuven includes hatreds, vampires. He is not. He's like, they scare me too much. They're just terrible.
Yeah. So there you go. A little quick side story on that.
It was hysterical.
It was one of the I like Tim with
What's
his
he doing?
emotes, personal emotes on that. Man, that's 30 years ago too. It's really scary, guys. It's 30 years ago, and we remember it. We remember it just like it was one of those events. And that's what's so great about D&D for everyone out there.
That one sticks out in my
It
memory.
sticks out, So
You're gonna have to talk about vampires and Greyhawk at some point.
absolutely, Jason, and that's what's so cool. But I don't recall any halfling vampires or gnome vampires or anything like that.
That is so sweet. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and now Will's going to use the zombie horde of
Hell
halflings
yeah.
too.
And the halfling vampire. Who do you think's running the horde?
We abuse. All right, so halfling communities are in published sources. Elmshire. Everyone knows where Elmshire is, right? At the very northern tip. I think I don't know if I have it on the map. All right, you see where the head is here on the map? It says delving into halflings. I'm gonna move this down real quick. It's right on this page. All right, see Elmshire? Elmshire is right. I'm gonna put the corner of that picture right there. All right, that's Elmshire. Down right, and that's a halfling community right in published source. Now, we abused the hell out of that town a lot. When we had the mongrels of the Putrid Tongue adventures, the mongrels that were in the Cairn Hills, and they're the ones that are crossbreeding any kind of race they can with the orcs, just to create all these different half breeds. And they created
Mongrels.
They created a half orc, half halfling, who was like the second in command of their organization, named Junior.
It's really like a quarterling in it, isn't it?
Well, he was a
Yeah, that
halfling.
sounds
He was a
about right.
halfling with a big snout. It was really disturbing. And John, Tim's dad, hated this character with a passion. Elmshire we've abused a lot, and unfortunately, because there's not many halfling communities around. Well, they end up killing. I probably told this story once before. They end up killing Junior, and what does Petronius, the druid thief, do? He needs a trophy. He takes cover your ears if there's any children on. He takes Junior's ball sack and turns it into a tobacco bag. Okay.
Which is what they do with steers and such. They normally they do
do they really do that?
Cattle, yeah. You can make a bag out of
I
it.
didn't know that. I did not know
Yeah.
that.
It's
Now-
not like out of the blue, totally weird. It is weird, but not out of the
Now-
blue, totally weird.
About 10 years later, I get revenge. Well, guess what? That's a piece of him that's there. The mongrels are trying to bring their organization back. They steal the tobacco bag and they resurrect Junior from the tobacco bag because it's a piece of him. You need a
'Cause
piece
of
to do a
preserved-
resurrection spell.
Preserved flesh, yeah.
So yes, the tobacco bag actually brought a character back. This is the disturbing stuff that goes on in my campaign, everyone. So there you go.
Well, Jay, if he hadn't done that, would you have done something else?
Of course I
Or
would.
did he give you the idea?
No, that was just like, oh wow, I can resurrect them. So thanks, Anna. Yeah, it's a true story that actually happened in my campaign. All right.
Anna, do not encourage him.
Oh, definitely. Let's talk about.
It's too late.
We're an hour in, so let's talk about this class. That unfortunately I don't remember the dragon number, but it's by January of 1988. All right?
129 if you're going to.
Is it 129? Oh, so
Yeah.
I did put it up. Okay. There's not enough halfling classes. when this came out, I was like, this is what we're looking for. We immediately incorporated it, and we've been talking about it. All right, don't sell them short. Halfling Guardian Defenders of the Small Folk. Now, this is not a paladin. Okay, this is not a Halfling Paladin. If you look on our listing here, there you can see down about halfway, Guardian. Only Halflings can be Guardians, so they have their own class. They can't multi-class. They can go up to 9th, but I kind of remove the cap level limit. They have great spells that are unique to their class, like Warning Shout, like Human Size, Giant Size, Blazing Sword. Really cool things. They get specialization kind of with a short sword where they get 3 every 2 in attacks. But they are the defenders of the community. Now, they can be lawful good or lawful neutral. It's only 3 pages, the article. You may want to consider incorporating them into your campaign. Now, if it's 1E, 2E, it's already set there. I've made some minor changes to it. If you're interested in what the changes are, I can always let you know what they are. Very minor. But now, take it away, Will. What did you do?
Well, for 5th edition, it smacks of being a paladin anyway. So what I did is I went ahead and I made it into a paladin oath. So that and of course, because in 5th edition the oaths are not race specific, so anyone can technically be a guardian, but it is prevalent amongst the halflings, and I went ahead and wrote that in there, and it is based off of the original class out of 129. So I try to mimic the powers as best I could. Like, one of the things that I made sure that they had was the enlarge ability. So because that's one of the key things that they had for the original Guardian. So,
but you have Iluk's Resilient Sphere in here. I give you credit for that, because it's a name. I didn't realize that they had any lame spells other than Mordenkainen spells in 5th edition. So
yeah, they do. They
Okay.
do. There's some. I think basically the ones that kind of were pushed away were ones that are connected to people that they don't have the necessarily all the rights to, so to speak.
Okay.
Or something along those lines. But yeah, so. And basically what it is, they're designed for guarding or the protection of things. They're definitely protectors, and they have the spells that are that way. But they also have the let's see, what did I call it? The special ability to call somebody out, challenge them.
You got Compelled Melee.
Yeah,
7th
there it
level.
is. Yep, which is basically allowing them to challenge people for combat. And I do have in that article there too their tie to essentially if you're playing the halflings. So I went ahead and I put the Arverine stuff in there and the connection between Arverine and halflings 5th edition wise. So
Excellent.
yeah, it was actually fairly easy to do. I mean, because it wasn't designing a whole class. You know, it's the oaths are in 5th edition was what replace give the paladin their flavor. You know, a paladin's generic, and then they take their oath, and then that's where all the uniqueness of the paladin comes in, because they're not aligned based anymore.
I think it's fantastic that you took something that was so old from 1988 and turned it into something that could be really used in 5th edition. And I'm hoping that people use it in their campaign, or people attempt to try it. And it's in Earth Journal 29?
29.
Okay, so it's in Earth Journal 29, guys, if you want to get this. And once again, Greyhawk Online has all the Earth Journals for your download, all of them. And you can just go right down, download it, and take a look. And it's and
number 29,
Yep.
page 9.
And that is the
Will?
second one. That's the one right after Gary Con.
Will, if I ever play online with you, I'm making a halfling.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Now, was
Boom. Mic drop.
Go ahead, Jason. You have a question?
this article, was it a player character or an NPC character write-up?
It's
edition.
PC. It's PC.
Okay.
For 5th edition, yeah, absolutely.
No, No, I'm talking about the old Dragon Man.
Oh, it's
Oh, the
either-
old that's PC as well.
Yeah, it's PC. It's PC as well. So what it says is the Patriot. It referenced Under Arcane at that time because this is 1988, and it talks about what it says is the following: that in order for them to become kind of adventuring types, say a community has 2 of them grow up, and each town only because of cost only limits the town to 1 defender. I'm sorry, 1 guardian. So the other one,
And I'm also going to throw out.
Yep.
The town probably likes them, but is also very uncomfortable with them because the sheep don't like the sheepdog until they need the sheepdog.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like everybody be like kind of cutting up, and when the guardian would come around, be like, oh, it's like the teacher
Yeah.
coming into the
like
classroom.
no one wants a cop around until
you
somebody
need
pulls
a
a
cop.
gun and there's trouble and they want a cop around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with a guardian. They're going to totally put a whole damper on the whole thing.
so everyone, let's just I had a couple questions out there. We started this before the fundraiser event, the Gabbin before the prelude. We did delving into elves first, delving into dwarves second. Then we had 2 weeks of the fundraiser Gabbins. Now we're at halflings. Next week, gnomes. Right. Next week, we are at delving, and this better work. Next week we're delving into gnomes. The week after that, I'm away. Okay, because I'm in Florida, the 8th. But the week after that, which is the 15th, we do delving into half orcs and half ogres. All right, we'll put them together, half orcs and half ogres. So we'll get through all the demi-humans, and then the week after that, next DM's roundtable before GaryCon. Yep. So
I'm going to suggest that
yes.
halflings, they probably are the number 1 growers of pipeweed, so they probably are the ones that
That's why they're so mellow.
Yeah.
Wink,
they
wink.
sell it. They sell it everywhere.
So
Hey man,
Why all the hostility, guys?
yeah, come on man, let's just mellow out here.
Jason, I thought you were big on paladins and old school 1E2E, weren't you?
Not me. No.
Oh.
I'm not a big paladin player, or I've had DM plenty of paladins.
Would you ever consider trying Will's defense? It's a good class.
It's a halfling, man.
It's a
Give in.
halfling.
All the cool kids are playing halflings now.
So we have 3 guardians that exist in our campaign now that are played in old school. Spooter Paddywhack, and then another PC is Aubrey Thorngreaves, another one of Walt's, and he's the lawful neutral one. And once again, Walt's disturbed mind. Sorry, what you're on. He had to leave because he got multiple halfling females pregnant in the community and didn't want to pay child support and left. So
That's not lawful neutral.
So that's why.
Not at all.
Yeah, he was like a yeah.
It's not measuring up.
Once
to
again,
the-
that's a Walt mind thing. Big paladin
He's more
player
like
fan. You might want to try. Yeah, so,
chaotic.
but that had nothing to do. I had nothing to do with that character background. So
He's like lawful irresponsible.
exactly.
Well, those guardians, they're pretty Tolkienistic. They're
Yes.
a lot like Merry and Pippin at the end of Lord of the Rings.
Like sheriffs. Yes, absolutely.
Well,
And-
Yeah, but that was after they kind of, they had to get up and experience first.
That's true. He said at the end. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah.
So
Well, Pippin comes back and he's wearing the armor, and because he was a Gondorian, and I always thought of them, Merry as a ranger and Pippin as a paladin.
But they both come back. They're both bigger because of the ent. Well, which one had the ent? They both did, right?
Merry
both
and Pippin,
did.
yeah.
both did. And in our Dreadwood
Both had the
campaign,
ent drink.
Tim, remember in our Dreadwood campaign, they came across an ent, and the halflings in that campaign drank from the same thing, and they're taller too. A couple of them.
Yeah. Who was that? Because I do remember that.
Yeah.
Did I have a halfling there?
I don't know. Maybe Leuven got a little bit taller from that, so it's very possible. But I know one of Walt's did as well.
I did look up all the manuals. There is no plus for longsword due to the race
What do you mean? I never said there was a plus for longsword.
for the halfling. Wasn't that a question?
No, the question was, could you use a longsword as a tall fellow?
Oh, there was nothing stated as you.
Also,
But
it does say.
Because longsword in D&D is not really a longsword. It's
All right,
still
here we go. I told you he was abusing the rules, didn't I, guys?
No. A longsword in D&D is really what would be called an arming sword. It is still a single-hand sword.
Right,
In
halflings,
the real world,
halflings
a
can't
longsword is a 4-foot-long, two-handed sword that is more akin to the bastard sword.
Right, I understand
So
that.
it's like the bastard sword, but with a wider cutting blade. I
Right.
am a sword snob.
I understand that, but in D&D, halflings can't
In
use
D&D,
longswords.
a longsword is a single-hand sword.
I got it. So it does state somewhere that tall fellow halflings and elves can mate. It says that, I know, somewhere, and I know David asked what do you call that, and we've never had that happen, but I'd say it's a half elf, half halfling, half, right, still a half elf mix.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So check out this, guys. Check it out. If you want more information on what I edited in old school, I'll let you know. It's minor. But are you still going on about the sword?
No.
Kidding.
But I do know what I'm talking about.
I know you know what you're talking about. Once again, do not convert real life to D&D, or we're all dead in Tim's world.
That would be an interesting campaign, is to do an all halfling campaign.
Oh, heck yeah, it would be.
I tried to get everyone to sign up to do something that linked them together. Same race, or same class, or same type of class. I've always wanted to have like an all same race. Or what if a whole party of monks? Wouldn't that be awesome? Or a party of all spellcasters. You could be all multi-class or straight,
Tim,
but all party of spellcasters.
Tim,
or all
look in
party
chat.
of thieves.
Look in chat, Tim. He's late to the party. Alan's late to the party with Sam. Yeah, we already had that discussion.
Sam, too late. We've already told the truth about you.
We my Sunday night group, we just started and I'm assuming this is a printed adventure, but older Forgotten Realms, but it's called A Hole in the World. We're all playing gnomes.
Well, that's cool.
We're all gnomes in that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, so we have a question out there. I know of one. How many halfling specific magic items are there? I know of a really big one in Arcana. Tim, come on.
It's the dagger, right?
The long tooth dagger in Arcana is
yeah.
I know. I think gnomes can use it too, but that long tooth dagger acts as a short sword in a halfling's hand. I would say that because and we haven't even talked about this. Halflings make great druids. Do they make great druids in 5e?
Sure. Well, then 5e you can make. They don't have
5e.
their bonuses into their agility. That's their big
5e is like the
dexterity.
snowflake edition.
So.
Everybody's good.
Well, they don't get the big bonus to wisdom, which is required in 5e for a druid. I mean, it's not required, but yeah.
Cool, Frank. That's good to know. I'm trying to think of other specific items that are halfling specific. I mean, if you go to certain, we've always created stuff. I've made like items that imitate what halflings get versus bow. Versus short bow, just like you have a ring of fairy, which is for elves, and the girdle of dwarvenkind, which is to immolate dwarves. But
what about a long tooth short sword that's like an arming sword for a halfling?
That's very
now
possible
we're talking.
too. That's very possible too. Jason, can you think of any magic items I'm missing?
No, I can't think of anything specific to it. But isn't there a big volume set that has all the 1E, 2E magic items listed?
Yeah, that's the oh god, what do they call those?
Encyclopedia.
Arcana is pretty good because it has them all in there, but it doesn't have like the descriptions for all the stuff in the Dungeon Master's Guide. But
no, there's that 4-volume set, like the spell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
the
four-volume
magic item.
set. Yeah.
Yeah, the paper was like real thin, like a phone book paper.
I
Oh
have it
yeah,
on
'cause
PDF.
those were massive,
Yeah,
massive
yeah.
tomes. Yeah.
It basically just lists the item and then tells you where it's at. It doesn't really give you the details of each.
No, you're thinking of there were two. There was a 2-volume set that was
Yes.
like little module size. No, this is a 4-volume set that's like the spell compendiums. I don't know if you've ever seen them. There's a magic item 4-volume set that tries to list every published magic item that was created, the 1E and 2E.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. I know exactly what you're talking about, though, Jason.
Well, like Elistron's their Encyclopedia Magica.
Right. Exactly.
There you go. And Greg Illustrion brought that up there. Definitely that. All right, let's let me go over a couple of that we haven't discussed here. A couple specific characters that I can think of. So we have a druid, another druid thief, Fenwick, and Fenwick is a charter member of Spunk, which we haven't talked about yet, because that came on an adventure, and we did an all halfling adventure. I brought this up before, and here's the picture. All right, this is a Roger Moore article going back to what I think is the greatest dragon magazine of all, Dragon 60. All right, and it's the story of Yuban Had. That's kind of a spoof, right? Here's Yuban Had, and then Mork the Orc's right below him. Yes, it's very disturbing.
Right.
Yuban Had is awesome.
Yuban Had's a 20th level chaotic neutral halfling thief. The story is very funny, and I've gone over it before, but Yuban Had has, in his spare time, he serves as the leader for a special interest group that he founded, Spunk, the Short People's Union for Nefarious Kleptomaniacs. Okay? So the group extends its membership to all light-figured beings of 4 foot height or less, including dwarves, gnomes, halflings, kobolds, leprechauns, brownies, pixies, sprites, pack rats, and raccoons. Members are made privy to intelligence information on city guards and militia for various towns, merchants, store plans, bank and treasure vaults, and so forth. Members reportedly greet one another with secret handshakes and remarks like "feeling low today." Okay? So that's Spunk. Now, if you know our campaign in Altamira, it's perfect, isn't it? Spunk has come into Altamira because the guildmaster of the Thieves Guild, and Alan, if you're still on, Lord Drarius the Deposed, who's a dual-class human cavalier thief. He lost all his lands as a cavalier. He's character stupid, of course, gambling, and then he was penniless, and he was in Highport. He joined Sam's Thieves Guild in Highport, Alan's character Sam, and he was dual class cavalier, so he had a lot of hit points. He was first level thief, but like a 9th level cavalier, and he couldn't steal anything. So he would just break their arms or knock them out, or
because he has 18 something strength, right?
So he would just knock them out or break their legs and then steal from them, and he was always getting arrested. So Sam, during an incident, fled Highport and left all his thieves there. Drarius never
Lubin
forgot
was smart
that.
enough to not start a guild.
Yes, Drarius never
Even
forgot.
though he's dumb.
Yeah, I know. Good. Drarius never forgot this, and you know how chaotic neutrals are, right, Jason? They can hold grudges for a long time. Yes? No?
Well, I'm not a big alignment guy, so
Okay. Chaotic neutrals have one thing in mind, and that is they're themselves for the most part. Everyone agree on that?
Yes.
Well, they are fly by how they feel at the moment is how I usually see it, which
Right.
is
So
dangerous living.
Drarius remembered this slight. How dare this halfling just abandon his thieves? And he went hardcore over all these years. He's now the guild master in Altamira of the Thieves Guild. And
hopefully he doesn't mess with Leuven, because
he's planning long-term revenge on Sam, who lives in Altamira. There are no halflings and gnomes allowed in the Thieves Guild in Altamira. They're banned, just outright. Dwarves are allowed in, but they got to pay a special fee.
Racist. I see
Only
discrimination.
raised.
Yes.
Yeah.
Discrimination.
So
That's why Spunk's there.
Spunk is there, and yes, that's the story I'm getting to. So Spunk is now there because of this slight against the gnomes and the halflings. And one day, probably when I'm 60 years old, we'll have a big to do about this part of the Thieves Guild as I'm building up the story. Just wanted to put that out there for the wonders of halflings. So
Back in the day.
I love Euban had. He's a rare halfling with sonic ability too. So do you want to talk about abuse in first edition?
Well, that's why he does walk on water and impresses everybody. So
Yes.
he's kind of like a quasi cult leader.
Yeah. So Dragon 60 is right where, and there's also the Cobalt Commandos in there too. That's where the original Cobalt Commandos come from, is in this article as well. So I know Sam doesn't care about him, Alan, but he should. He really should. So
It's your fault, Sam.
of course it is. It's got to be someone's fault. All right. So what we got left? Cool. We got about a half hour. So Will, what are you looking forward to doing with halflings in your campaign?
Well, I'm always looking forward to using the brays. I love the brays, and I use them whenever I get a chance to. I have, because with the new campaign that's coming up, I'm converting some of the stuff out of the D&D Essentials, the new box set that they used.
Oh, cool.
And so I wrote up some different NPCs, and I put an ex-bray that's in hiding that lives up there. So I have an excuse to bring in my notorious brays.
Awesome. How do you convince your players to play halflings on streams?
You can't.
Really?
There's so many. It's like out of the groups that I currently play with, like the Sunday group and whatnot. I think we've had one halfling that's been played, if I can remember correctly. That wasn't me. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you would think, because like with the halfling luck and go, that's such a good thing.
So that's a feat they automatically get no matter what.
Yeah, it's a racial ability.
Can you explain it, please?
That's the one where I messed up and I said they keep rolling with the one.
Oh, so if
so
they can't fumble the first time. Wow.
Then they roll again, and then they have to take the second.
Oh, so they can fumble.
They can fumble if they roll 2 ones in a row. Yeah.
So if they roll a 1, they get to re-roll and keep whatever they roll.
Correct.
So it's an automatic massive reduction.
Oh yeah, big time, huge,
Massive.
huge.
Yeah, 1 in 400? So it goes
then
from
they
1
have-
in 20, goes from 5% to whatever that works out
Yeah.
decimally.
They do have some other racial feats that are available to them that are luck based too, but I don't really care for any of them. The only other one that's cool is the one where essentially they have a limited number per day where they can, if their friends are going to fumble, they can spend one of them and keep them from fumbling. So
guys, my laptop crashed for some bizarre reason, so I don't have access to chat right now. But I'm trying to get it back. At least it wasn't my PC that I'm streaming on. So
right,
Think about it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So
Bilbo was brought in to be the 14th.
Now, I'm surprised Tim hasn't brought this up. Our buddy in Carlos's game, he was a druid halfling snake rider.
Oh, really? Goofang's character?
Goofang was a halfling druid, yeah, and he had a snake follower, and then got another one.
2 giant snakes, yeah. He
Cool.
rode them.
So you had don't entertain Alan on there, please. So we had it's.
Here, let me tell you, you can't see chat still, right?
I came back up. I saw it.
Dang it! That's good.
It's all good. So Jason, with your is it nephews playing and stuff mostly?
Yeah, Yeah,
Halfling.
it's it's a family game. I'm playing his friends. It's actually three couples, so it's he's married and so's one of the other couples, and the other's just fiancés. But I'm doing the 5e thing, and I'm doing Greyhawk, and I'm bringing in a lot of new things. I wanted to mention this. I'm you don't hear about the halflings in the Backloonish West.
No.
So one of the things that I'd done in the distant past was I have a halfling society based on the Jawas from Star Wars.
Ah, that's cool.
They're a nomadic desert society of scavengers and thieves.
That's close to Dark Sun, except they're cannibals in Dark Sun, man.
Yeah, don't talk about that. or Dragonlance.
Or Kenders, right?
Kenders are so awesome.
Oh God, they backside with a hoopback or whatever it is.
Yeah, they go up there with gully dwarves.
Oh, that's another awesome
God,
one.
no.
We're going to be doing Dragonlance soon, and I'm going to do a Kender and a Gully Dwarf, and I'm going to name them Jay.
Oh, please, no.
No gully dwarves.
Let me tell you something.
Accept a Kender, but not a gully dwarf.
So
no, it's embarrassing. It's like saying a sewer dwarf.
Yeah,
it's brutal. Last Saturday during the fundraiser, Casey's there playing, and he finds out that Swain's wife, who's dead, and I remember they all both got undead raised as animuses by the Falcon, is Lorana from Dragonlance, because we got up to DL4 and that was it. He brought her back, right? And he's like, you bust Dragonlance's balls so much and you allowed that abomination to come into your game in the Greyhawk? And I'm like, come on, Mark was young and he, I didn't want to break his heart, right? Because Swain had fallen in love with Lorana. So, but now we got Lorana's kids, like Gilthinus.
She was pretty.
Yeah. One of the biggest tools in all of, not I'm NPCing, so just a little sidebar there. All right, I got a couple questions about your, about this wonderful, guys, if you want a compilation of all the halflings in Greyhawk, go to Jason's Hall of the Mountain King. And just, it's one of the, so was it 2 or 3 posts ago, Jason?
Oh yeah, it's recent. Just a couple days
it's
ago.
recent. Okay, go there, and here's a compilation of all the halflings. Who is Charlemagne? It sounds like Charlemagne. That lucky ghost. It's a deity. I've never heard of it. It says Living Greyhawk Journal number 3.
I think that's in the 59 and in the Best of Greyhawk 3, isn't it?
No, it says here Charlemagne. It says Greyhawk. No, it says LGJ, Living Greyhawk Journal 3. That's what that is. It's that one's definitely not in Best of Greyhawk Volume 3. And then this one begins with a U. Urgoland, Halfling Deity, LOG 70. I don't know either one of those deities.
Oh well, the LOG's a triad thing. It's Living On Well Gazette. Back when the triad started out, that was Crichton Broadwood, who did a lot of stuff with Greyhawk, and he did this really. He got me their playbook that they had come up with called the Living On Well Gazette here, which I was able to index. So you see a lot of things saying log or ONN, and that's just the Living Greyhawk Onwell stuff.
Okay. All right. Because I didn't know either one of those deities in this, and I was like, oh, well,
well, you notice Charlemagne is also in Dragon 299.
Right, but I don't go that far out on Dragons. I stopped when 2nd edition stopped, so I don't go that far out. I didn't look into it. I'm assuming someone made it for a some kind of reference, but it says Lucky Ghost in parentheses, whatever that means. So maybe I should look that one up and take a look.
Well, a lot of the guys were, at that point they had incorporated the Living Greyhawk Journal into Dragon Magazine. And I know that, like, when Eric Mona picked up my index for the Living Greyhawk Gazette here, and I think he published it in Dragon 296.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, Jason. I'm sorry. Oh, Jason, I apologize. I just got something that's so funny. Go ahead, keep going, Jason. Someone just sent me something via Whisper I have to share with everyone. Go ahead. Instead of busting my balls, someone's busting someone else's balls in chat. Hold on. I can't copy it. Go ahead, Frank. You can put it in chat, man. I can't. It won't let me copy it on my laptop. All right, so that's funny. So, I'm sorry, Jason. Get back to your thought. My apologies.
No, it's just like these deities. I can't even remember. I never got around to indexing the monster mythology by Sargent, and I really should have, because that's something I've used for the Greyhawk, the monster deities and stuff. But it's probably going to be done sometime in the future. But no, there's all these the various deities. I did try to use them in my campaign for the halflings, that suggested halfling deities. But you keep showing the one book, and I've never really looked at it, is that complete gnomes and halflings book.
Yes. Yeah. So, you know what? There's a lot of kits in that. There's a lot of good miscellaneous things. Of course, the dummy me, I left it down in the basement. I'll bring it up for the gnomes discussion next week. But definitely is something to guys. You gotta look at that.
There you go. Short shrift on the halflings.
What's that?
Short shrift on the halflings.
True.
Will, I can't hear you.
How about if I unmute myself? There we go. It's like shortchanging the halflings again. Yeah,
that's right. Damn it.
So Frank just made, and I had nothing to do with it, a Garth Warmonger, a stout halfling paladin druid rogue wizard, by Alan's request on D&D Beyond. That is so awesome. That's classic.
What did you say?
Here comes Skagith raiding us in. We're not talking about monks, Skagith. We're talking about halflings. All right, I want to bring up something else that someone, when I was prepping this whole thing, was kind enough to give me a link, and I'm going to link it. And this is the great Dennis Tetro Malden. You've probably seen it going up through the scroll a couple times. Skagith and crew, welcome, man. Yes, had to go 5th edition with that. Hey, Sprocket, good to see you. Here we go. So, the Hob Loggers of Irongate. Here's the link to the article So it's a good article. It talks about this race of their loggers, their wood loggers along the hill in Irongate, and they maintain a guild hall outside the city to northwest of the Valley Gate, and it operates as a tavern, as a guild hall, and it talks about the Hobloggers Guild, and they have contracts with the Dwarven Canal clan. And so when I asked for anyone who had information on halflings in Greyhawk, here's a one right out of Malden's Greyhawk. Dennis Tetro. Anna and I would love to get him on a show sometime, but one show or another. And there are Hoblogger magic items, David. There's Rope of Convenience, Axe of Gentle Persuasion, Iron Rope, Block and Tackle of Power, and Rooted Boots. Okay, so it's
a block and tackle will be very handy.
Yeah, really cool stuff to check out. So you ask for some halfling weapons, and there you go. There you go with that. So thank you there. Blood Bowl has halflings too, and they get squatted a lot if anyone has played Blood Bowl before, which is a game we yes, Treants can throw halflings in Blood Bowl. Alan, you are absolutely correct, but not in D&D. So but it definitely is a
the Blood Bowl is really,
I know, the World of Warhammer.
Yeah, so don't ever bring it up, really seriously.
So we got some time still. I would say if you're going to play a halfling in old school, and then you could go to, I know 5th edition, it doesn't matter, Will, but maybe you can figure out, and Jason, you can figure out in old school what you'd play if you were a halfling. I would play the following. I would go with either a druid thief, I would go with a fighter thief, or I go with a straight fighter. Oh, Guardian's cool too, but if you don't have access to that, with a fighter you get the +3 to hit with a short bow or sling. You can get your specializations in our game. You get your battle shouts in our game. Halfling fighters can be really really cool, and then you can specialize with a weapon and with your missile weapon.
I've actually come up with a concept for Leuven's nephew.
Yeah. So
to replace him.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, he's probably ready to retire, right?
Well, he's getting old. Some of these guys are getting old. So Alan brings up one more character, and then we'll answer that question for everyone. Alan has a character named Max Pickens. Okay, good name. He's in Greyhawk City. I think he's in. I want to say he's in Vengeful Justice. He's in one of the groups in Greyhawk. He's neutral, fighter, thief. He wants to become the Jabba the Hutt of the Foreign Quarter. So he's like trying to he tried to become a mobster type and work so that he makes all these deals on the side with all these organizations politically and with businesses, protection money, all sorts of. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Delphin, thank you so much for that. Thank you. So it's cool. It's a really great played character by Alan. Really is. Fits perfectly into Greyhawk City. He extorts from the people's constables. That's how good he is. All right, and everyone knows how much jerks the people's constables in Greyhawk City are. So it's a neat character, and that's a fighter thief with a lot of options. So Jason, old school, what would you play?
Well, I mean, basically, I've done a lot of thieves, but I really think you're missing out on rangers. I really see halfling rangers as a thing. Now, you also, don't you have in your campaign an archer class?
Yes, but they cannot be archers in the Leonard Lakofka. There, I said it, Anna. Leonard Lakofka. The Leonard Lakofka archer is humans, half elves, half orcs.
Yeah, but they also can be gnolls, and there's also humanoid versions also.
Yeah, but halflings can't use longbow.
Well, they have to be a longbow archer.
It's longbow, great bow, or long composite bow. So what we do is we take the fighter class, Jason, and we do the fighter weapon missile specialization, and that's why they can specialize with short bow as a fighter, and that's where they get the plus.
To be fair,
good.
As far as the tactical side goes, weapon specialization with a bow is about all you need. Because, I mean, we don't really do the strategic, tactical, picking people off from 100 yards is not happening that much. So it's the tactical up close. So you might as well specialize.
Well, you didn't play in the Watcher's Towers adventure where Ace Broadhead was on the tower and shooting at 450 to 550 feet away, which is, I tried to set that up intentionally because archers have range out to 610 feet, guys.
So one time out of 800 and how
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
You got me. So Jason, we don't have our old school. I understand what you're saying. You think Ranger would be good. A Guardian has Ranger's abilities. Guardians can track, which we didn't discuss. Will Guardians have the tracking ability in 1E, 2E? Guardians have the warning shouts.
Yeah, because they got to track down the bad guys.
Yes. So a Guardian is a healthy alternate for a Ranger. Yeah. They won't have.
Who's been in Farmer Maggot's fields? Who's been in Farmer Maggot's fields again?
Exactly.
We're gonna find out.
There you go.
So Skaga says, sure, a halfling can be used with a longbow. I guess they get fired real far too if a strong person draws the bow and a halfling is the arrow. That's funny, Skaga. That's awesome.
They could just set it up like a miniature scorpion. They just draw it back, put the arrow in.
Probably. I think they could probably get away with a long composite bow because I don't think the limbs on it, because of the recurve on it, it's not going to be that much.
Out comes the Bill Islandfeld no emotes.
It's fine, but I mean, if you actually
right
it probably wouldn't be that big a deal.
I mean, if they can use a longsword. I mean,
one. Yeah, thanks, Will. So
two-handed.
Jason, I'm sorry.
Two-handed, right?
I mean, I just don't have them as rangers, but if you had them in your game as rangers, that's cool. You
I
know,
just
that makes
see
But
them,
sense.
again, why would
I-
you even bother? Because
Go ahead. No, because of the animal companions and stuff, right?
the
Well, I
range.
just see them as very rural, Sylvan, with the Druidic business. That seems to touch on halflings very well. And then for the thievery, I see that as more of like the city halflings
Right.
that taking the thievery. But really the more pastoral halfling settings, I see that like this for my Greyhawk, really two big Flyness branches is just the halflings that inhabit the cities, and they tend to be merchants and thieves,
Hmm.
and the halflings that are the farmer types and small town people, and the ones that are classed, they would be like you said, druid, fighter, and for me ranger, but not so much thieves coming from like where we see the big populations out in Ernst and Ulrich. I don't see. I see that the small enclaves, like we're talking about the Little Shire,
Hmm.
in these various cities. I see that's where the halfling thieves would thrive, and out in the farming areas and their shire like places, that's where they would be more the fighter or like you do the guardian. I don't really delve too deeply into these
Special
Dragon
classes.
Magazine specialty classes.
Cool.
I try to stick toward the big four, and then with a little bit. I could also see them as bards.
I like the I do like the
Interesting.
idea of the ranger one. Would you have the same? Would you still do it like first edition humanoids, giant class focus, or?
Well, to an extent, I mean, as long as we're not getting into the unearthed arcana stuff where they got into the things with especially archers and the super deadly bows. I really didn't care for the rules that came out in
They didn't have that on other Arcana, right?
or is it Greyhawk Adventures?
What rule, Jason?
Oh, where they were doing things about specialty bow fighting. It just
That's
I
Dragon
really,
Magazine. Oh no, that's under Arcana. Yeah, we toned
it is
that
on there.
down.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely correct. We do not do double dice. We do
I
plus.
didn't tone that down at all.
I know you
I
didn't.
turned it up.
Yeah.
Up
But-
to 11.
But what we did was the following. So the pluses to hit and damage are there in the ranges. We got rid of double damage dice, but we made crossbows, light crossbow 1 die 8 and heavy crossbow 1 die 10, and bows
like
1 die 6. That's what we
The
did.
reason
to
I
make
don't,
changes.
the reason I think it should be turned up is because there's a reason why every single military and armed service in the entire world, ever since the existence of humanity, has sought a missile weapon, and that's because they work really good.
Yeah.
It's true.
Have you guys
Mic
seen
drop.
the guy who's invented the repeating bows?
Repeating bows in 5th
Yeah,
edition.
there's this. I think he's German, and he has come up with a simple device that allows.
Oh yeah.
to fire,
I love that guy.
arrows.
He's always like, ha 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 ha.
Yes, he is. Crazy dwarven blacksmith guy. Yeah,
So
he's
it's like
an NPC in one of my games now.
nice.
Awesome.
He's like the crow from Hawk the Slayer of the real world.
Oh God. I watched that again last night. I forgot.
You
how
watched
bad.
it last night? How
Yes.
campy it is and cheesy it is.
Oh, it is so bad.
Yeah. It's
I
Jorg
couldn't
spray.
finish watching it until the end. It was like, why did I put myself through that?
Jason, the guy's name is Jorg Sprave.
Jorg. Wow,
he
what a
is
name
Jorg
that is.
Sprave. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's on my subscriptions for YouTube.
Yeah, that's a perfect D&D name.
It's right up Skagus realm there in Rethix.
He's German. He's like, and now I made it work well.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
So, what do you
That's
think
awesome.
about in 5e? I mean, is there any class that you should would be a go-to class for halflings, or has it been that so it doesn't matter now with 5e?
Oh, it's still they're still really well
of luck.
designed to be a thief,
Okay.
a rogue. I mean, they're still there because they get bonuses to hide,
Right.
and they get to the ability to move through areas and through through opponents. So they can pass through an occupied square is essentially what it is and whatnot. So for sneaking around, setting yourself up for the backstab, all that good stuff.
Excellent.
But they're still, but that is pretty much true in the fact that the only thing that really matters when it comes to race and class really anymore is where your bonuses are dropping in your stat, and if your stat corresponds with your class. There's a couple of other things, and there's the people that crunch the numbers, the neuromancer guys that
min-maxers.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll say this one's better than that one, but pretty much all the races can pretty much play anything.
So, Alan, I want you to know that Frank is going to use Garth Warmonger as an NPC in one of his campaigns. So you have crossed over streams. Don't cross the streams, right? So there you go. You exist in another world now. That is awesome, Frank. Thank you so very much. All right. So we've kind of exhausted, look at that, 921. We've kind of exhausted halflings. I think we've gone over a lot of great things. They don't exist in a lot of spots in published sources in locations to synopsize, but County of Ulick is big, Principality of Ulick, Verbalbach, I don't care what anyone says, the Cron Hills has gnomes and halflings in it.
I think that there's some sort of halfling crime organizational don that pays money to get all the halfling references taken out of stuff.
That's right.
That nobody knows
what
the real deal is. So remember that.
Like the halfling Illuminati.
There's always something.
Yeah.
Well, just remember this. Jason has the halfling. Guys, if you've never read Phineas Fingers, you have to read it. It's freaking hysterical 80s humor. Jason has the Halfling Thieves Guild from Phineas Figures. Will has his organization in the Bandit Kingdoms of Halflings, right? The mob, right? And I have Spunk.
Mob.
And Tim has a Halfling Thieves Guild in the city-state. So we all have corrupt organizations, well, not corrupt, but organizations of halflings in our campaigns. So we pay them some homage, right?
They're the Bray are just repairmen. They fix your problems. That's all they do.
Hey, you got a problem?
Not evil. They'll fix it for you. Yeah, exactly.
They'll take care of that for you.
Yeah.
See, look, and Phantom came up with a great idea. I seriously make it develop a secret society of halflings that are tracking and working against the emerging Scarlet Brotherhood. I support it 110% because I hate the Scarlet Brotherhood.
And they could be halfling monks.
I'm applying for membership right now.
I hate, they could be monks too, Skaga. Absolutely. All right. So, Jason, we'll go first. What is going on in your world?
Right now, just a lot of different projects. I wrote up a few things for the OJ or Earth Journal 32 that's coming out.
And you're on the cover I saw too again.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's because it's alternate Earths, and that's pretty much a lot of things that I do. And I'm working on a novelization of Ghosts of Saltmarsh, the new 5e one.
Awesome.
It's a little hard for me. When I write, I tend to take the game mechanics and put it as the physics of the world that's going on. So my 1e books, they're very 1e. That's the way the world works the way that magic and things work in the 1e game. So with 5e, I'm trying to learn all this stuff, and there's a lot of things I'm not too fond of in 5e, like their experience advancement and things. But no, it's one of my things I would like to do. I think 5e is really where the future is, and I think that people will come back to other versions, especially 1e. But not many, because it's a tough game to play. And I think what I'd like to be able to do is to offer some 5e content. Like, you look at Joe Block, and he has really turned into the 5e Greyhawk guru out there, and he's coming out with a lot of good stuff for 5e. And I really would like to see things move into the future. I'm dealing with a younger generation right now of players, and in real life, and my output of material tends to be generic enough so that you could really use it as background for anything. Like when I write up a character, I do a lot of NPCs. I try to have them enough so that you could. It's setting. It's just it's set in Greyhawk, and you can just add the mechanics to what you want to play it as. And so I just continue on with the same thing. I've got big projects in mind. Working on the Drow. I'm getting interested in what's going on with the Backloonish areas, like I said, and just coming up with new things that coming up with the campaign and learning 5e so I can get better at DMing it.
Awesome.
There's this great show, Jason. It's called Critical Role. They do.
Oh, that's oh man, that is just wrong. Oh, that's painful, but that's funny though.
That was a critical hit.
Yeah, Jason, you are being too kind as well, because Jason will be joining us on Wednesday night for Legends Lore number 40 with Anna Meyer, Greyhawk Mike, and myself, and Jason will be joining us for Villains next on Wednesday. Why, I can't wait for that one. So he'll be.
I have my pen and paper ready.
Yes.
Well, villains are the heart of the game. I mean, when you're a GM, you deal with villains. They make the game interesting, and you need them for the players. The better the villain. That's why, like we talked about with Uz and the Horn Society, I find Uz and his whole realm to be very, very low, and I'm very big on Horn Society as a good source for conflict, and I think it's a much richer area. Sad to see that what they did to it with Greyhawk Wars, but I don't use them, so it doesn't really matter.
And there is it's going to be a blast because I think you are great at the obscure ones and the Gord books. I don't know anything about the Gord books, right? And I know about Slaver's Reference. I know about the Bot from the Ashes. I know about the Marklands, the Eyes of the Evil, all the old stuff. But you go to the old, the Gygaxian route on stuff. I'm more the Sergeant, route on villains. So it'll be good. Plus with Anna's mix and Mike's, it'll be a very good show. I can't wait for it. So that'll be nice on Wednesday night, guys. So please check that. That'll be our last Legends Lore for 2 weeks after that. Because the week after that I'll be in Florida, and then the week after that we'll have a Living Greyhawk again. We'll have Verbabank and the Shieldlands. We'll have 3 people from Living Greyhawk 2 weeks after next week's. So in 3 weeks.
All right, so you're doing canon villains.
No, we'll do some other villains. I'll do some villains from our game too, here and there. You're up, Tim. What do you got going besides cutting all night?
I have a lot of plots and subplots ready for the next city state, and so it's really all about how do we bring the urban environment to the stream. It just changes. It just makes a lot of extra work to make it look,
It's so worth it, though, right, Will, for having Tim's game online?
Oh, yes.
There will be a lot of role playing.
There's a lot of people waiting with bated breath.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a lot less than like the last 2, and more like it's going to be a lot of subplots that are going to continue.
I'm so excited about it because I get to play in the in the old school setting. It's great.
Somebody has to come see the Overlord.
Tefeli is not afraid of the Overlord. She'll go.
But you have to go. Yeah,
she's fine going. So no problem.
No problem.
No problem.
You have to be ready.
I'm going to be ready. I can't wait for that. But look for that. Look for that after GaryCon, everyone. I don't know if we'll fit in a Saturday night special. Brian is talking to me, Will, about fitting one in somewhere. So that'll be Anna, me, and Naz.
I'm looking at April.
Yeah, we're
Ooh.
looking at in April, but we may squeeze one in sometime in March, hopefully, with Brian Sublime DMing. So we'll see on that
Okay,
too.
yeah.
We'll try and get a couple squeezed in here because we were on last Saturday. All of us on the show tonight were on, and that was a fantastic Saturday. But that was the best Saturday all of us have ever had. So thank you once again, all about from the fundraising stream. All right, Will, you got a lot going on, I know. So
Oh, geez, yes.
Go for it.
Let's hear
Well,
it.
it's in the streaming realm. This coming Tuesday, 25th, we start up the season 4 of Greyhawk Adventures. The ongoing. It's not an ongoing, but this time we're going to Bone March. And that's where
Nice.
we're going to start. And this is going to, I've been prepping them because this is going to be sandbox. Whereas the other ones we've done weren't. And I'm like, okay, so boom,
Wow.
there it is. The only thing I asked is do me a favor and stick around in the general vicinity till 10th level.
I got what you're
Please.
saying.
It's like I've prepped a bunch of different stuff that's just all over for whatever. You can do whatever you want. But if you guys all pick them, go, you know what's good this time of year? Yeah, let's go to Lendor. And it's like, what? No,
See,
got nothing prepped.
that's when DM's crushing fist comes out. Boom.
Right? It's like so
Denied. There's a
But that-
terrible.
that'll be starting this
Tuesday.
Saturday. I'm sorry, Saturday. Tuesday the 25th. We'll be starting at.
What time?
It's at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
We've got Wednesdays is still Tales of a Savage Land, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
How's
I
that
still
rule
have-
system going?
Great. You know what? I'll say this much. Savage Worlds is really good for low end type of game.
Okay.
The game that I'm running there has had a steep incline in power rankings, and I'm starting to see where I have to tweak stuff to make it workable at the higher ends of things. But I mean, as a whole, the system is really good, though. I get so, but it is good. So we're still doing the Saturday morning superheroes. That's on Saturdays, but we're getting ready. We don't have a solid date. Dragonlance is going to be coming to Friday nights at some point in the near future.
That's why you couldn't play in Praetor's game.
Praetors, yeah, and the Slavers. Which I was so upset. I wanted to play that so bad.
He's still maybe looking for people. Everyone, Jimmy Duffy at Praetor's Rejects running the Slavers A series. So it'll be 5e, but yeah. He did a showcase on Saturday night. It was pretty cool. None of their players knew what a peck was.
You're doing A1?
Jimmy Duffy is Praetor's
Jimmy Duffy
Rejects,
is.
but it's in 5e, Tim, on Fantasy Grounds. Yeah. Now you're using Roll20 still with both games, correct, Will?
Yeah, I use Roll20 with all of my stuff.
Excellent.
I see the benefits to Fantasy Grounds and why some people like it. And granted, I have to do a little bit of more stuff on my end when it comes to Roll20, but it gives me more versatility as far as the way I see it. But but I also will be I'm going to write up another because I'm taking a break from editing Raven's Rook supplement that I was working on, and I'm going to write another module. So. And put that out there for everybody for free, like I did with a horror resurgent that I just put up.
And I may try and fit that in at some point, guys. The one that Will published out or put it out for free. If you have where is it for download now? Or
I put it up in the Greyhawk Online's Discord channel.
Okay.
But I put it there. I put it on the Facebook pages, the Greyhawk Facebook pages. It's still available there if you can see the cover.
It's level 7 to 10, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good, guys. It deals with Tang the Horrific, which is cool too. So there's a Discord. There's our Discord and Greyhawk Online, both for those. So lots of really cool things going on with Wicked Studios, guys. So please check him out during the week.
Yeah.
Stand by to get some.
I would love to guest host. I would love to guest the NPC on Dragonlance night so I can kill all the gully doors in Kender.
See, what I was thinking is I wanted both you and Tim to guest star as Kender and Gully Dwarves when they run into them.
I can do a gully dwarf awesome.
See, there you go. Right? I actually won't be running that one. I won't be the DM. That Adam is the big Dragonlance nut. So Adam's going to be doing the DMing on that, and I'll be a player.
Good. It's good, man.
Yeah, I get
nice
to play.
to play.
Yeah, it's totally nice to play. 100%.
I'm not stuck in a rut. I'm stuck in a gully.
Gully.
Oh my god. So that's.
I'm sorry.
No, it's awesome. So
I'm going to put the link in right now for that. This is the link you can go and get a free. It didn't.
Well, they can copy and paste it, guy.
Copy and paste it, and that leads to.
It's 5th edition. It's easily back convertible though. So.
I'll do it if Jay does it.
Do what? The
Gully Dwarf.
The Kender Gully Dwarf. If I have a free Friday night and
just what Will said.
I don't have wife aggro.
If you do it, I'll do it.
Wife or kid aggro, I could surely do it. So that night. So I just need a little notice. That'd be awesome.
I'll keep you guys in mind once
it's a hoopak. Is it a hoopa? Hoopak. What the hell's that thing? The Kender. Hoopak.
I know what you're talking about. It's the staff with the sling on the end of it.
Yeah, they can backstab with it.
Yeah.
Great. That'd be wonderful. All right. So we have one more week of streaming before I go on vacation to Florida on a business award trip. So here's what's going on. Wednesday night, we already discussed Legends and Lore Villains. It'll be myself, Anna, Greyhawk Mike, Jason Zavoda, and maybe one other guest. We shall see on that. Thursday night, we finish up Taint of the Falcon, where it appears that from the end of the Falcon, there's undead running all over Altamira, including individuals looking for mass souls looking for this thing, a person called the Boogeyman, and there's burning bones. There's all sorts of stuff that because of the power that she left behind when she.
Sadly.
What's that?
Sadly, the players all know about it, but the characters do not.
Exactly, but that gets us to next Sunday. It does. When we delve into gnomes. And we may discuss this character who is actually the Boogeyman and what happened to him. So we'll talk about gnomes next week. Gnomes are maybe even more, what do you think, Jason? A little more comical than even halflings are in some instances.
Oh my God, you just called halflings comical?
Jeez. So we will discuss, and this
so racist. You heard
racist.
You heard the implicit bias. Did you?
Yeah, I totally did.
Come on, when I have a gnome in my campaign named Rumple Foreskin, that's
right. Yeah.
Who are you to judge?
Yes.
Jay?
Yeah. Okay. And I did that. Yeah. So
that's just a translation in his own language. It's very beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, Mrs. Foreskin and Mr. Foreskin thought very hard about his name before they
exactly. Good old Tom. Oh my gosh. So we'll discuss gnomes and deep gnomes next week, and the classes they can be, and where they come from, and just like we did tonight on halflings, deities.
I would like to make a bunch of fun of them, but I have a gnome, and I've had characters play him in college. I had a guy play as some gnomes that were awesome.
The ultimate evil antithesis that went on for about 15 to 20 years of my campaign was a gnome illusionist assassin, which is allowed in Earth Arcane as a multi-class option. Gnomes can be assassins, which is great. So that is one of the nastiest combinations you can have, and we'll talk about that character. We'll talk about all sorts of things.
Take my medication before we talk about him.
Yes. Yeah, so Gnomes next week, and then I will be off the entire whole next week because I go Wednesday night and I don't get back till Sunday night, which is my birthday, March 8th. So I'm gonna have my mother over and family that night. So we will not be on again until March 11th, which we will be the next Living Greyhawk. That'll be 2 weeks from this Wednesday coming up. So we got Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday coming up still before I go on a hiatus for a week because of sitting on the beach, hopefully in nice warm weather. So hope you enjoyed tonight on Halflings. Thank you for everyone participating. Obviously, everyone. There was a lot of great chat. Some of it ball busting, but who cares? It was fun. It was a good time. Guys, I hope you guys had fun participating in the conversation. Yeah. There was a great circumcision. That's great, Katana. Always up for one of those good jokes, man. Anna, thanks for hanging out tonight. And I figured I'd give you a break on this one because I had some great contributors, and figured I'd give you a nice rest and for coming onto the show. And guys, we're gonna go to the ad screens here. I know you guys are gonna get tired of seeing it, but I love it so much, Frank. Yes.
Snafu mentioned something, Christmas one shot with Tiny Tim, so I got to make up a character.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine that, man? That would be
It's
fun.
Tiny Tim and his staff of striking.
Wait. We have a staff of stinking that one of the gnomes made up, and we actually have there's actually a gnome village in the Carrot Hills named Stinking Staff. All right, so that's how crazy gnomes get. So, but we'll talk about that all next week. So, yes, it's good. Yes. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out in there tonight. Glad to see the participation and the growth of all Greyhawk channels. But I really appreciate this. Yeah.
I thought he was going to say halflings can't use a staff of striking. That's what I
had made a mention, got him the staff of Stanford.
David, I hope you hang in there. My condolences to you, please. Hopefully everything goes well, and I'm sorry for your loss. So.
To activate it, you had to bang it on the ground and go Stanford all the way. Stanford, here to stay. And then it would actually send out a cloud of smoke, and confetti would fall out of the smoke and give you a bonus.
Garth Warmonger's already leveled up. He's 2222. That's it, Frank. I love it. 2222 new.
That was what I had. I had that encounter. Somebody had that staff.
Hey, Reiner, good to see you.
You didn't know what it was.
That's all that matters. Is it up?
Oh,
give the room up.
By the way, I forgot to announce this. We have another edition. We have a 6th stream. It's already sent out in for next year's event. And that's Troll Lord Games is going to join us for the mega streams. We're up to 6, and you guys can finish it in time slot too. So.
Oh, you mean for next year we'll actually have 6 4-hour elements?
Yes. Absolutely.
Next year, maybe I'll play in 3 of them.
Yeah,
there you go.
You're crazy
you can
enough
do
to do that, man.
You were up. Did you take a nap that day?
I tried. I couldn't get a nap in there.
See, there you go. You could play all day.
He was here, but he was here after we finished for about an hour after we were done. You didn't leave my house till 3 o'clock in the morning.
I was up for 22 hours straight, and actually didn't even feel that bad.
Yes.
Ranger Tim.
By the way,
I was about to say.
What? I remember I was at the game. I was talking about I've been up for 20-something hours, and Anna's like, you're in the military, you can handle it. I'm like, darn, she's right.
Yeah, she's got you there. Yeah, see, she came on to tell you too.
That's right.
Oh man.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, Anna, did you hear me talking
Hi,
about
guys.
you?
Hi.
Anna,
The after party's starting here.
No, I didn't hear the last bit because the music was so loud. So
I'm sorry, and I got it down too.
I said that I played 2 games. I said next year maybe up to 3, and then Jake commented about time, and I said I was up for 22 hours. I said I mentioned it, and then Anna was like, you're in the military. That's no big deal.
Exactly, you're supposed to. Yeah, part of the job.
Darn. Anna, among the civilians, it's
Mike, we'll see you.
Oh yes, yeah, I know that. But that it always
Cheers.
bugs me that things that we had to do just for basics, you have to tell others that oh, it's so fantastic. You've done such an awesome job. You've
Just
been
in time,
outdoing
Jimmy.
A little bit.
We had a lot talking about you too. You may want to go back. We talked about some of your stuff. We talked about the slavers. So I'll do a low ad as we keep on talking here. Yeah. So we have Reiner. Hey, it's good to see you on, man. So yeah, Jimmy, we're talking about the slavers one on. Hey, that's cool, man. We're talking about your slavers one for Friday night. So
I was crying because I can't play.
yeah, because he's got yeah, absolutely.
Will.
'Cause I'm like running a channel.
I
should just set it all.
Bill, you're so selfish.
I am selfish. You talk to my ex, huh?
Oh man, that's rough. Someone who was the one that recommended that? Someone recommended that Tim should be on the channel stream more, and he should just get it the worst. I said, "Oh my god, guy." Who said that
I
to
did
me?
not see that.
Someone said that to me, and I was like, "Oh my god."
Well, I can agree that Tim should be on the channel more often. That's for sure.
More info after Gary Con. Well, we'll see. We'll at Gary Con.
I
So
can't
Reiner
think of
and
mysterious
Critters
Tim.
Rejects and everyone else,
That's
thanks
true.
a
That's
lot.
true. Yeah.
True.
You have to
That's
keep
a
your
good point.
mysterious.
See you
Yeah.
Wednesday
Good point.
night on Legends and Lore. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.